Welcome to Dungeons and Gamers, a cool podcast where we play Dungeons and Dragons and have good times. I'm Bryce, and I play the half-orc ranger, Fergus Bog.
I'm Erin. I play Cookie Kebler, the bard wood elf.
I'm Beckers. I play Bear, the bear barbarian.
I'm Matt, and I play Morthos, the tiefling sorcerer.
I'm Darian, and I play Belladonna, the high elf rogue.
And I'm Katie, and I play everyone else.
Last time on Dungeons and Gamers.
Well, I started my first day as baker at the Violet Scepter. Everyone I've met has been really nice. When I first got there, I was greeted by a sassy gnome named Betty, who had the most amazing cutting skills I've ever seen. Imlawe walked in soon after and asked me to make something with a bunch of strawberries they had on hand. We ended up going with mini strawberry pies with strawberry roses. They turned out so good. After a while, I got a tour of the casino and learned a little more about the layout and that the guy who owns the casino is named Duval and is really only around for special occasions. While I was leaving work, I bumped into Morthos and Bella in disguise as high-rolling gamblers. They were down on their luck as they won pretty big the night before. So I gave them some of the dessert I made earlier to hopefully give them some extra luck. I also put in a good word for them to Rico, so hopefully they'll get in the VIP section. Fingers crossed that it worked! Afterwards, I met up with Fergus over at the Frog and Firkin to tell him my discoveries for the day. He asked that I try and see how many guards come in and out of the casino throughout the day and maybe find out their names. Before I left, I gave him some pie to give to Bear when he got back to the Golden Harp. I sure miss her. Hope she's doing okay with everything.
And that brings us to now.
So, we'll pick up where we left off with Morthos and Bella to start with. When last we saw them, Fren was leading you to one of the rooms in the collection, namely the one containing the Violet Scepter. So he'll lead you up the stairs, and there are two doors up there that you can see. There's one behind the statue, which is the one he heads towards, which is directly sort of in the middle of that upstairs area. He stops and he leans over to one of the guards that are there. There's two there, and he kind of says something quietly in one of their ears, and they nod. And a few moments pass, and the door opens from inside. It swings inward, and there are two people standing in there. Fren turns to the two of you and kind of like gestures for you to follow, and enters into the door. Who goes first?
I think Morthos is going first.
Okay. So you walk in first and Belladonna follows. The door closes after the two of you. And from the door on the opposite side of the room, so you enter in down here on the south door. And as soon as the outer door closes, this door to the north opens and two more guards come in. They don't look like they're being threatening. It just simply looks like they were waiting for the door to close before they opened the other door on the other side. They are dressed in the typical guard attire that you have seen around the Violet Scepter. Fren, of course, looks a little bit more affluent. He's dressed in not simple, but like fine, simple clothing, like well-made, good materials. Definitely doesn't look like a guard. So there are in this room then three guards that have the Violet Scepter attire on, Fren, and then one other person who looks to be wearing a robe. Now I want both of you to go ahead and make a religion check for me.
Religion? Ooh.
This person is standing there where they have a robe on and they have a hooded cowl almost that comes up. So their face is partially obscured, but they're holding what almost looks like a censer on a little bit of a chain.
Morthos rolled a 19.
And Belladonna critically failed.
How religious would you say that Morthos is?
Money is his god.
Money is his god. So if money is his god, that's probably why you recognize the symbol. On the censer is what looks almost like a coin with the profile of a woman that has hair blowing backwards, maybe by a breeze or just by their movement. And you recognize this as the symbol of Joaquin, who is a goddess that kind of oversees commerce, mostly legitimate commerce, and a casino would be considered legitimate commerce. Sometimes less legitimate commerce, but it appears that this is likely at least a believer or perhaps a cleric of Joaquin that's standing in front of you. And they look over to Fren, who nods to them, and with the movement of their hand, some smoke starts to drift out of the censer. In a very calm voice, even toned, almost not like a chant necessarily, but like this is something that's very rehearsed, that they've said many times. They say, "Do not fret, this is simply to protect against illusion magic." And they begin to swing it back and forth. The scent that falls into the room is very sort of earthy. There's a little bit of like an herbal tea almost kind of aroma to it. And as it kind of wafts over you, are you inclined with magic, Belladonna, at all? Not really?
No.
Okay. So then, Morthos, you'd probably be the only one who would recognize the feeling of almost like a dispelling of magic, even if that's something that you particularly don't know how to do. That's something that you could have learned. And so you're familiar with it. Now, luckily for the two of you, your disguises are physical. So nothing changes. But you know, Morthos, that the intent of this was to make sure that you don't have any sort of like illusory magic going on about the two of you. Everybody stands and watches you for a moment. Nothing changes. The cleric nods to Fren. Fren nods back to the cleric, and they exit out the rear door. At that point, Fren goes over to the door to the left, and he says, "As I said, there will be a line on the floor. Do not cross it. You can look, but you cannot touch. Each item will have a plaque that will tell you more about it. We will have a few moments only." And he pulls out what almost would look like a key, but it's more complicated. It's like there's moving mechanisms on the end of it. He slides this into what is essentially a keyhole, but again, it's almost like it moves as you watch it. So there are a couple of turns to that. It looks like he's also doing something with the end of the key. He's very much trying to hide and cover with his whole body exactly what it is he's doing. It also seems like he's touching different places on the door. And after a few moments, there's not much of a sound, but ever so slightly, probably Bella would be the only one who would pick up on this, like the clicking sound of a physical lock releasing. And the door again swings open inwardly. He pushes it open and continues through and gestures for the two of you to come in. So you walk in and you see a fairly simple room. It's all very exquisite looking. The floor is made of marble. The violet carpets are very soft and plush. There's a massive, intricate chandelier on the ceiling, which emanates light throughout the room. And there are several pedestals around the room with items on them. This one looks to be a small ring from the other side of the room. This one looks to be a candle. There's a potion that is almost suspended here, but it might be perched up on something to be slightly above. And this looks like a collection of chalks or pastels or something. Up here on the north side, you can see the violet scepter itself. It's actually not as impressive as you might have expected. It has almost like a crescent moon sort of shape at the top. The handle, the haft of it, is golden itself, and there is a large violet gem or rock that seems to be affixed between the points of the crescent moon. It's probably about 2.5 or 3 feet long, so it's sizable. What it does is, like, if anything, isn't apparent at a glance. There are markings on the floor that essentially line the bounds of the carpet, except for near the entrance where you're obviously able to walk through. But the carpet will essentially be what you're bound to as you're kind of like moving around the room. So he moves in and stands in the center. All 3 of the guards follow you in. One stands near the door. One is posted in this corner and one is posted in this corner. They're very much watching you, but they don't look like they're being, again, aggressive or anything. It's a scrutinous look for sure. They're being very careful about this. And Fren turns to you and says, well, look and read at your leisure. Again, please do not touch. And does this sort of like fold his hands behind his back and just kind of watch you sort of gesture, leaving you to your own devices. What do you do?
I'm going to go look at all these things.
Okay, where would you like to start?
The one closest to the entrance.
Okay. So there is a actually rather drab-looking pouch behind 3 sticks of, they seem to be chalk, a dull gray. There is almost like a sense of energy about them, even for somebody who's not familiar to magic. It's hard to tell what exactly it would be, if anything, and you definitely aren't supposed to touch it. So if you want to do that, that's up to you. But there's a plaque under it that reads, "This is a wondrous item from faraway lands. These chalk, although look unassuming, are magical in nature." It describes being able to draw lines with them and create magic with them. And it talks about making paths between different places. Let's see here.
Chalk Zone? We going to Chalk Zone, guys?
Chalk Zone.
Oh, fuck yeah. Chalk Zone.
These are Crayola, and they create these hopscotch paths.
What it essentially describes, without reading you like the background details of what the items does, is it's like almost like drawing a protective ward, like drawing a line in the sand. A line in the sand is kind of what those do.
So not Chalk Zone.
I don't know what Chalk Zone is.
What?
It's a cartoon from Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Early
Oh,
2000s.
yeah, I didn't have cable when I was a kid.
Totally
Same.
fair.
I don't know what chalk zone is either.
Oh man.
Rudy had a magic chalk that he could draw a circle and enter Chalk Zone, and anything anyone ever drew with chalk that got erased would
Goes
then
there.
go to Chalk Zone, and he would have adventures in Chalk Zone.
I watched very
kinda fun.
little of that. Yeah. But I remember enjoying it.
Good times.
Okay, that character looks kind of familiar.
I remember he fought a big cyclops.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember the Cyclops.
And he could draw anything he wanted in Chalk Zone.
Yeah, with the magic chalk, you can just do whatever you
Ooh.
want.
I definitely thought you said Choctaw at first, which is like not only like a tribe of First Nations people, but a casino nearby here. And so I thought at first, because I didn't hear everything you said, that you were making a reference, and I was like, whatever it is that happened, I didn't know this happened at this place. Oh, Chalk Zone. Just kidding.
Yeah, Chalk Zone.
The name Rudy to Booty
Yeah.
seems familiar too.
Rudy to booty.
Rudy to booty.
I love it. So the next one over is a potion. So on the plaque it says Essence of Rage. It says this exquisite magical potion tastes like iron and bitter raisins. It imbues the drinker with a furious anger that lasts only for a short time but grants great power.
So it basically makes you bear. Temporary bear.
It turns you into bear.
Cool.
I'm just like this all the time.
I'm always angry.
That's my
The next item over is the Candle of Anti-Light. It says on the plaque. It's actually got a almost porcelain-looking base that has a candlestick, a bottom to catch drippings, and one of those big, like, loopy handles to carry it with. And it's a single white column of wax for the candle. And the plaque says, Candle of Anti-Light. While burning, this dark, mysterious candle sheds magical darkness around you. It cannot be seen through by any means that aren't magical. Not for the faint
Ooh.
of heart. The next item over is a small ring. It's a very, very delicate, very finely made silver band of roses, actually. And the plaque reads, Ring of Roses. One so whom bears this rose may call forth a single bloom each day. It will always be the same size, but the color is of your choosing. It will not last more than a day, so give it to somebody special.
Wow.
Okay,
Pretty.
so this section's the shitty magic items.
What? These
Are you
cool.
kidding me? A candle that drips magical darkness? I'm a rogue. I'm all over that.
Yeah, and based on the description, you know that dark vision wouldn't see through it either. Only
Yeah.
magical, like, light, essentially. Let me actually read it says, a creature with dark vision can't see through this darkness.
The Ring of Roses sounds so romantic.
Mhm.
Like, I can give you a flower every day for the rest of your life.
I can pop out of this
Here you go.
darkness and hand you a little flower.
In any color.
Mhm.
That's the most important part is any color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
You gotta make sure it's the right. Hey,
Beautiful.
what's your favorite color? Yeah, I got it. I got you.
I knew. Look, see?
Yeah.
Haha. I love it.
I haven't been stalking you, I promise.
And at the far end, these are a few steps down here and then a bit of a raised platform where the scepter itself is on almost like two metal stands that come out of it to have it suspended at an angle.
Mm.
There is no plaque here, or there's no description on the plaque here. The plaque simply says the Violet Scepter. I want you both to make a perception check.
Morthos got an
Ooh.
11.
And I critically succeeded.
So, as you're looking at this, it's curious that this is apparently the prize of the collection or whatever. It's definitely what the casino itself is named after. So to not have a description is a little bit mysterious, perhaps. Maybe it doesn't do anything. Maybe it has some sort of magical properties. And as you're looking at this, Belladonna, and you're kind of looking at the scepter, taking in the surroundings, there's something that draws your eye kind of in the area almost behind and to the left of the scepter on the wall. Now, the light from the chandelier does sort of end right at the tip of the scepter. So it's a little bit dark back here, but you're an elf and you have dark vision. And even though it's a little bit more dim and the colors are almost kind of verging over into gray tone, there's just something about the wall right here that is giving you there's more to this vibe. It's difficult to tell what it is, but there's like a seam where there shouldn't be a seam. There's almost like you can tell there's maybe something illusory to it because you get that sort of, I look at it and I can't tell if this is maybe changing a little bit as I look at it, but then if I look away and look back, it looks the way it looked when I first looked at it. And at first glance, it just looked like a marble side of a wall, but there's just something that's kind of like invoking your spidey senses, I guess. Can I say that? Is that like DMCA?
I'm pretty sure you can say the word spidey senses. Marvel breaks down our door. No!
Yeah.
No!
D&D's
Go-
over,
The ghost of Stan Lee! He's come for me.
And as you're looking at the wall and kind of contemplating the fact that there's very absolutely there's something more to this than what it seems, you notice that the scepter itself it's very similar to the sort of key mechanism that you saw Fren use earlier, where it's generally shaped like a key, but you could tell that there were moving parts on the inside, and you're not sure whether they need to be activated or whether it's something that moves on its own. But there's just, without a description, it's difficult to know what this does, but you can tell it has a similar property to that, because it, on the very top part of the crescent, there is almost like a similar working to it that the key does, with these sort of like pieces that you can tell are fit together and can come apart. Only because of the natural 20 were able to notice all of these things. Like something just caught your attention and you were able to spend a few moments scrutinizing it, that details that other people might not have caught. Is there anything else that you two are wanting to like look around with while you're in here? Obviously you've just uncovered this information, so.
Yeah, I think Morthos is going to speak up and talk to Fren.
Okay.
And just, hey, Fren, So these things all, and he's like gesturing to I think I'm close to the roses, right? That's kind of where we last. These all have, these say what they are. Is that the scepter? That's it? Right there? And then like, as I'm gesturing, I'm also intentionally kind of half stepping over the line towards the rose ring.
Oh, gotcha.
To see if there's any sort of reaction there.
Got you. As you start to breach the barrier where like the edge of the rug is essentially in this sort of like line that's marked out on the floor. And it's not a crude line. It's finely done. Like this is a nice room. Everything looks very affluent. And the line that's marked out on the floor is like a gold strip that borders the violet rug. And as you start to step over it, there's this tingling sensation, almost like a low-level electric fence. That's like the real life equivalent of it. And you can tell that if you were to keep your foot over the bounds much longer, that it's like slowly increasing in intensity.
Okay.
And as you do it, he kind of leans forward, like gestures out with his hand as if to say something as you're talking. He says, it is the scepter. Can you please?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling that. Whatever that was. Oh.
I do not want to step over that for long, I assure you. Should be more careful.
Yeah, I guess I will. This is kind of drab for something called the collection and this worldly collector guy, right? Like there's 4 items and maybe more of an antique collection, I guess. I expected something a little fancier.
Are you intending to... So the way you're saying it...
I think Morthos is just like very
like
casual.
Fuck this shit.
Yeah. Kind of
like a
it
casual
was so hard
insult.
to get in here, and then it's like,
This is it.
this is it.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I gotcha. Okay. Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
22.
There's like after you have stepped back and Fren has relaxed a little bit and his hands have kind of fallen back into like folded in front of him. You say that and like he quirks one eyebrow and there's a exhalation from his nose and there's almost like ever so slightly some body to that. Like there's a little bit of smoke almost that comes out, like he's having to really hold back. He says, well, if you're unimpressed, you are welcome to leave.
Well, I mean, I'll stick around as long as Holly does. I just, I guess I'll look around again and really, really make sure I understand why these things are here. I guess I'm not appreciating it.
Oh my god.
Of course, this is only a part of the collection, and the most valuable items are not available to just anyone.
That makes sense.
Why?
He looks very haughty at this point. Go ahead.
Wait, this is like this isn't the VIP stuff, or this is the VIP stuff?
Are you asking in character or out of character?
Out of character.
Okay, so you know that based on the schematic that you had seen of everyone's best guess, there were several rooms. So it would take a lot to get in here in most circumstances, and it takes approval based on what Fren said to you earlier today. It takes approval from the collector directly. And he happens to be here on the premises somewhere at the moment. And so with explicit permission from the collector to people who have done very well for themselves and gathered a large crowd and drummed up a lot of business are allowed into one room of the collection. So presumably there are several more rooms, maybe even increasing in rarity and usefulness. It's hard to say like what might be available, but you get the impression that it's like, this is the Violet Scepter. They're letting you see the Violet Scepter, and the other things in here are probably not like the most grandiose items they have. But for the average person who even like a minor noble or something getting in. Magic items are really rare. Not as much to adventurers, but to the average person they are. So this would be something that would be wondrous to the average person. But like the level of impressiveness decreases with your access to magic items and things like that. But it does kind of seem like this is the this is a beginner room, and they put the scepter in here.
The scepter's here, yeah.
People get to see the scepter, but the other items aren't like the most valuable by any means.
Morthos is like, I got a little thing that can turn into a bird, and what do you got?
Yeah, like I'm holding a spell gem that can turn me into someone else for a little while, and
you got something that'll make you upset. You got a little drink that'll make you upset.
Yeah.
It did say it would imbue you with great power for a short time.
What's this collector guy like? Morthos generally just talking at Fren now, I guess, not addressing him necessarily, just kind of looking around the room.
He keeps to himself, and he values his belongings.
Huh. Seems like a weird guy.
There's another kind of like, it's almost like a snort exhalation. Again, you can tell that there's like a lot of restraint going on. But he seems almost like personally offended.
Okay.
And Bella, you were going to say something?
No.
No, okay.
No,
right.
I'm just really staring at the scepter.
Okay.
If there's illusions, can I like choose to disbelieve them?
You just roll investigation to do that. Yeah.
Okay. And I rolled a 1.
Okay.
Jeez. Either like really good or really bad
Really
today.
That's what today is, I guess. I'm actually just flipping a coin over and over again.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
You either get 1 or 20, nothing else.
I have one here. Yeah. D2. I forget. I think it said campaign coins made this one. This literally got like a 20 on one side and then a 1 on the other.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So you can tell there's something to it. You can tell there's something going on back there. You don't have to not believe that it's an illusion. It's just that whatever it is, it's either really powerful or you just didn't quite figure out. Maybe it's not an illusion per se. Maybe there's just something magical going on about the wall that's not an illusion. It's difficult to say, but you know there's something up with that sort of region. And you know that there's something up with the scepter.
I'm just going to be mentally noting every little detail about this scepter so that I can get in touch with the lark and see what we can find out about it.
All right. Then a few moments pass. It seems like there's like a short amount of time that you were intended to be allowed in here. And after the time passes, Fren says, well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for coming and for not disturbing things too much. We should be going now.
Thank you so much for letting us see this. This collection is beautiful and wonderful. Don't mind what my friend said. He is not very sophisticated.
Excuse me?
You're
I love
excused.
everything gilded and fancy.
There's kind of like a look from Fren, like from you, Belladonna, where he looks very like pleased. He's like, oh yes, that makes much sense. And then you start to speak up again, Morthos, and it's almost like side eye. And he's
I bet these guys get to see the other rooms. Pointing at the guards on the way out.
Perhaps you're looking for a job.
I mean, things are going pretty well in the casino right now, so not currently.
It was not a genuine offer. If you please. The door has been opened and he essentially gestures you out.
I will take my leave.
Okay. All right.
Respectfully, but quickly.
So he ushers you out back into the main room. Everyone exits that room. The door closes. He again kind of like blocks sight of it with his body and does something to the door, presumably locking it. And then this door at the south is opened, and he essentially waves his hand, letting the two of you leave. It doesn't look like he's intending to follow.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Good
You as
night.
well. And as soon as the two of you leave, the door closes behind you.
That sounds wonderful.
Okay.
I need that candle.
Those are random rolls. I was like, oh man, I can think of somebody who might be interested in this.
Yes. I was wondering that. I was wondering if it was completely random or if they were targeted. So I think that's just wonderful that it wasn't random. Like, nice.
I usually roll loot randomly unless it makes sense not to. So
Sure.
it's kind of fun how it works out sometimes. Okay.
She didn't roll for my mom's necklace being in the collection, so it's not there. This was all Wild Goose Chase.
We're going to find out something weird about your mom's necklace is what's going to happen. It's going to be...
It's the purple scepter. Like she never she never mentioned it, but it was a little weird large on her. And it kind of just like hung. It was, I don't know. When you're younger, you don't notice those kind of things.
Okay.
It did look oddly like a stick.
She held it in her hand.
Now that you mention it.
I love that. So, do you have anything special that the two of you have planned for the rest of the evening, or you just intend to continue gambling, complete your second night stay, and then go report back? You said you were going to seek out the Lark again when you're finished with all that, Bella.
Yeah, well, yeah, I will be. I'll probably try to find some time in like a washroom or something to note down all the details I can remember to bring back to the Lark.
Okay.
But I would spend the evening finishing up, trying to see if I can make more money, taking advantage of that free night, so as to not raise suspicions.
Okay. One moment here. For the rest of the evening, what is your plan for the evening, Morthos?
I think Morthos is kind of unimpressed. Like he was just like, "What are we doing?" That was it. Like, you know, he's like, "There's other rooms," but he's like, "We shouldn't even be trying to rob them." Like, what's the point?
I love it.
But this is like, I got a little tingly in my foot.
Yeah.
We shouldn't try to mess with these guys.
So he's like, maybe we're better off gambling, but I'm just gonna go check out. I guess are we planning on leaving together, Bella, Holly?
I mean, we don't have to.
I guess Morthos will hang out downstairs and like wait for you. Otherwise, he'll just go back to the hotel.
That makes sense.
Are you staying and gambling with me then, or you're just like waiting in the
you're
lobby
staying and
for me to
gambling?
be done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize you were gambling again. Yeah.
Oh,
I think the idea was to go and like make the notes as quickly as possible while it's still fresh, and then go finish the evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So throughout the course of the evening, it seems like not your luck has run out. You're not losing. You kind of break even with all the. I did a couple of rolls, so we didn't have to like sit through all of that again. But it's not that your luck has run out. It seems like instead of having incredible luck, everything's kind of like leveled off even keel. You go up a little bit, you go down a little bit, you go up a little bit, you go down a little bit, and it just ends up kind of like breaking even throughout the course of the night.
Perfect.
Yeah. And you're satisfied with your notes. You're able to write down all the details you want to. If you draw a little sketch or whatever, everything looks fine with your notes. Recording all that information to the best of your ability. And so this will be the last night in that place. They didn't indicate that you needed to come back again the next day. Of course, you all can continue to gamble your money as much as you want, but this will be the last night in the like special hotel. Whatever hotel inn. I said hotel, but in the special inn.
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
I love it. Okay, so let's switch over really quick then to Cookie. So you've already kind of like made a few friends. What is your general plan over the course of the next couple of weeks to gather more information?
Well, I know Fergus specifically mentioned to see like how many guards are around and maybe get their names if possible to kind of know when they come and go for like security type stuff to see how many people will essentially be potentially encountering.
Okay. make 2 perception checks for me, and this will just kind of cover you generally, like during your free time, wandering around and trying to count and keep track of what the general number is at any, during different times of day.
Okay. The first one is 11.
Okay.
And the second one is 8.
It's okay. You're not in like a combat situation. This is like slow and leisurely, so the DC is not super high. One thing that you notice, so there's always somebody posted near the entrance to the restaurant, the cafe. There's generally somebody posted near the front door, sometimes 2 later at night or like during busy times. There's always 2 people posted. Let me switch back over to the main floor of the casino or the first floor, so I can point things out to you. So here, there's always one person on either side of this during busy times, but there's just one person when it's slower, like earlier in the day, like brunch times and such like that.
Brunch.
There's always somebody standing at the back of the hallway as well, back here. So in the actual casino area, there's always 2 people posted behind the statue and like little fountain up at the top. There's always one person posted over in front of the door on the side. And then during the slower times, aside from the attendants, of course, there's one person at every table dealing. And then there's, at slow times, there's one attendant for the slot machines. There's usually a few people serving drinks. That can vary, but they're not keeping an eye on, they're not like security so much as they are watching glasses to make sure people are drinking and continuing to spend money. During slow times, there's typically 3 guards patrolling. If things pick up, there might be up to 5. And then like during nights and especially on weekends when the crowd is very robust and can get a little rowdy, there could be anywhere from 8 to 10 patrolling the main area. And at that time, there's also 2 slot attendants.
Okay.
And they're posted strategically, but they'll wander as well. They don't seem to have a specific circuit, the ones that are watching the floor itself. But the guards that stand at the doors will always enter and exit via the door to the side behind where Rico usually is when they're like doing their change. And on the first floor, it's similar that someone will usually come from the main floor of the casino to relieve anyone who's out here or out here. You never see this person actually change. I don't know if you just like, if it's at like an irregular time and you just never catch it or what, but it seems like the person that's back here is always like, there's always somebody back there and you never see like the changing of the guard. There's similarly one of those, like, you wouldn't know this necessarily because you wouldn't get to debrief with Bella and Morthos, but there are like rules of engagement posted near the cashiers where it's like, no like card counting, no whatever, basically like the rules of the casino. And one of the rules is not to go beyond the golden line on the floor. And there's a golden line on the floor right here. And the person is always standing at the back. So you know that even like the staff can't cross over that. So you could maybe go back there and kind of like meander maybe and try to get like a look. But this person has like full, not plate, but full armor on. And in fact has like a helmet. So you can't even see their face. Wow. And they don't speak. They don't really address anyone or have like a casual demeanor. They look very like at attention.
They're a robot.
Maybe.
Or Warforged. There you go.
Or a golem.
Or a
Yeah,
golem.
could be. They do move like a creature that's alive in some
dummy.
sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, or just a suit of armor.
I was going to say, let me clarify that there is like, if you were to even like casually out here kind of stand and watch them long enough, you would see them making like movements like somebody who is like what's the word I'm thinking of? Automated or alive. Like they look like they're breathing. They look like they shift and things like that. But
Yep, the normal like body movements.
Exactly.
Even when you're standing still, air quotes, you're still moving to a certain point. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely not like a fake suit of armor.
Like taps his foot like Sonic.
Yeah, right. But that's the one oddity that you notice as you're kind of like slowly gathering information while also not trying to be like too suspicious.
Okay.
So is there anything else on your agenda? I know you generally wanted to kind of like try to make friends with Rico, which is pretty easy. Sweets and stuff. He doesn't volunteer too much more information. He does briefly talk about how people were let into like the first door of the collection at one point when you're probably bringing him like another treat of whatever the day is or
saying
what have
hi
you.
or whatever.
Yeah, stopping in to check in and say hi. He mentions that someone is let in. Doesn't volunteer a whole lot of information about it other than that like they must have been important in some way.
Okay. When Cookie was on the tour with Imlawe, she mentioned if she knew what dessert Duval would like his favorite dessert, and they said that they would find out. Did they ever find out?
Ooh, that's true, actually. Let me go. I have this written down. I went and looked it up.
Gotta look up your NPC's favorite dessert. Now Katie is like, every time she makes an NPC, she's got to be like, okay, here's their hit points, their weapons, and their favorite dessert.
Must always know the favorite dessert.
Yep. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. Yes. So she comes back and she describes something to you. How many? What sort of cultures would Cookie be familiar with in terms of baked goods? Is she like world traveled and knows most things across several different like provinces, continents, whatever? Or is it really more like Sword Coast, Faerun, like typical stuff?
I don't think she would be super familiar like with really exotic things, but probably just more with what the Keblers would make in around the Faerun area. So, yeah.
So Imlawe will come back and she will describe to you a dish. She wasn't given a name, but the dish that was described to her is essentially flan. Okay. It's like fantasy flan.
Fantasy flan. When normal flan's not enough, gotta get me some fantasy flan.
Fantasy flan.
That episode of Courage messed me up as a kid.
Oh. What happened?
Every episode of Courage messed
Courage
me up.
the Cowardly Dog.
I love Courage.
It scared the shit out of me every night when that came on.
It didn't scare me as a kid, but I loved it. But I watched horror movies at a very young age.
I was also a macabre kid, so I very much enjoyed being scared. But that one, like, I had nightmares, and I'd wake up crying about fantasy flan for some freaking reason. Like, I don't know what chord it struck in the tiny brain of my childhood, but that one did not sit well with me.
I didn't know that this was a thing. This is just like
no, it's funny now.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. Yeah, I was traumatized by that episode.
Traumatized by fantasy flan. So she essentially she describes it for you and like what he described the taste and texture to be. And then she hands you what like the recipe that she, based on what he said, like jotted down. The measurements may not be like perfectly exact, but you have enough information that you, being the skilled person that you are confident that like, even if it takes you a couple tries to get it exactly the way that it was described, you could figure it out.
Okay. I definitely think Cookie would certainly try and make that at some point.
Okay.
Could Cookie have asked Rico maybe more about like the other guards and like what they're like, or
sure,
like how the general morale of the place is or whatnot?
Okay, go ahead and make a persuasion roll.
I rolled an 8 in persuasion.
Okay, roll a second one for me. given that you'll have several conversations with him over the course of this time.
Another 8.
Wow.
Love it. That's 3 8s in a row.
That's great.
All
So,
the 8s.
This is actually, it's crazy 8s. This is actually kind of perfect. So at first, little hesitant to share too much information. Over a little bit of time and with a couple of more baked goods and generally just your like cheery personality, he does explain that there are essentially 2 levels of like watchers and guards, and that the floor attendants or the people who guard the actual casino floor and who roam and watch for people are sort of one group. And there's 3 groups. And then there's the people who are on the first floor down where the entrance is. And then there's a smaller group that keeps a watchful eye over the doors up where he's at. Like there's less than 10 of them that rotate out through the day and the night shifts.
I love the 8s for like a work friendship where it's just like we're, circumstantially we get along and we're, we talk to each other, but outside of this we don't really talk to each other or we're not really friends.
Exactly. We're work friends. Maybe someday we'll be real friends. Yeah.
Actually hang out and go to a tavern or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you are able to pick that up when you ask about like, the other guards' demeanors and stuff. You kind of get a lot of like shrugs and like, I work with them. They do their job well, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's all that I can think of at this very moment. So, okay. That's information for Fergus.
There you go.
To do as he please.
Yep. So then you're working full time, Fergus, right now?
I thought it was a part-time night type thing.
That's what it is. Part-time, nighttime. That's what it is.
Also, well, I know that you're kind of doing like big picture things, but I do feel like so the last time we left off, there was the scene with Bear. I do imagine every time since nobody's really been around except for Fergus always checks on Bear every time he comes back. Okay. And so like, is he going to notice that there's now food there that was not there previously?
Make a perception check when you get back. Yeah, stop me at any time if you have something else that you want to do. I'm trying to make sure that like no one has to sit for like 2 hours while anyone else is doing anything, or that you don't feel like you have to role play 2 weeks worth of interactions if like, that kind of thing. But stop me if there's something that you want to do for sure. Yeah.
So Fergus comes back from work that night with Rascal in tow and just like pops in to check on Bear, make sure they haven't torn up the room and stuff. And I rolled a 19 for perception.
Okay. Tell me, like, when Bear eats and there's like a whole like casserole dish, do you like lick your maw clean after you're done? Okay.
Yep. I would like in general though, like I may have bumped the side table and knocked everything off of it. That's kind of, I don't pick things up.
Okay.
But I didn't leave any food around.
Okay. That's kind of how I pictured Bear. Like his face is whatever, but I ate every bit of that food.
Mm-hmm.
So you come home and you take a look around, and I imagine that Fergus is kind of taking like a general assessment to make sure that like you said, like nothing's gone too awry and that like the room seems undisturbed, like no one else has gotten in as well. Like just checking the security and seeing if Bear's gotten into anything, right?
Yeah.
So there's like obvious signs of Bear having like moved about and like probably bumped a table and like a candle's been knocked over. Nothing's been like broken. There's no like expensive vases that are shattered or anything like that. It looks like the normal sort of disarray of when somebody might bump into something. Nothing in the room seems amiss. There doesn't seem to be anything missing. Nothing seems disturbed. Nothing seems out of place from when you left it last. Are you going to check on Bear like specifically, or is this more of like your assessment of the room?
So this being the day after the night that Cookie came, Fergus picks up all the like stuff that Bear has knocked down or disarrayed. And then
Yeah, clean after me.
once things are kind of cleaned up, he comes over to Bear and reaches into his bag and grabs the treat that Cookie gave to them and sets it down in front of Bear and just goes, what, I was supposed to scratch them on their
Under the chin.
under the I guess Fergus is gonna wait for them to start eating so that their mouth is distracted.
Bear, how's that go?
Bear's definitely gonna freeze at the hand approaching the food area and like be like, what are you reaching for? Like, I don't know if he continues coming, then I might growl at him.
Would you say that when you stop, you're looking more like suspiciously or more aggressively? Like, do you immediately have that kind of like, get your hand the fuck away sort of look that an animal
Just
can when it's
suspicious.
small?
Just
Okay.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I think for Fergus is definitely like slow about it because like Fergus does not want to do this, but he was just like instructed to do this. And he as he's reaching, he just kind of says like, Cookie told me to scratch you, and he just goes, sorry you guys are apart, she really misses you. And then he like tries, and then, but definitely if there's like aggressive, he like stops.
Okay. I'm gonna let him do it. I'm gonna keep eating, but I'm gonna watch where the hand goes. Because I recognize Cookie and Scratch. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
And then yeah, he does a little scratch and then is like, okay, I did what I was told, and then and then goes back to his room once everything seems good.
So while you're giving the food and having the little like, it's okay, I'm not taking your food, and you go to scratch Bear's chin, it's not necessarily that you see anything amiss, but as you're like putting the treat down at first, you did catch a whiff of like a meaty kind of smell, like a fresh cooked sort of smell,
and not something I would have provided, or like a different and
Yeah, and so it's almost like you recognize that like on Bear's breath is a smell of like freshly cooked meat.
While we're since this is a smell check, you gotta bring my boy out. Oh yeah, I'm gonna roll twice just because he gets it, but Rascal definitely got this whiff of that with a nat 20.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine Rascal definitely smells something too.
Rascal definitely gets the scent just naturally as a creature who is going to smell their environment anyway, because smell is important to wolves and canines.
Yeah.
He'll also detect the sort of like, this is food. This is like human food that wasn't here. Like, I didn't have any of this. You didn't give this to us, kind of.
So
like.
I think between me smelling it and seeing Rascal like perk up, knowing that like, hey, I smell meat.
Yeah, like you get closer to Bear and like, you know, like Bear exhales as you're putting down the treat or whatever, and Rascal kind of does the like.
Fergus kind of like puts a hand on his sword, and he like smelling that, going like, this is not one of the foods that I brought. Something smells off, like literally smells off. And he puts a hand on his sword, and he's like looks around and goes, Morthos, Bella, are you back? And kind of like goes to their rooms, to like goes all around to see if like anyone else is here.
No one's there?
And he goes back to Bear and goes like, he continues trying to talk to Bear, obviously like knowing that Bear has abilities, but he can't actually communicate with them, and just like still goes like, how did you get more meat?
Oh, damn it. I was trying to burp. Bear's just gonna burp. There you go.
Nice.
There we go. that was a better one.
It was a meteor one.
Yeah. Fergus is definitely on edge with that. He definitely doesn't trust it. He goes back to his room. Quickly he grabs the mirror that's still wrapped up in the sleeping bag, and brings it back to the suite where Bear stays, and he like sets himself up on like a couch or something to just like keep an eye on the situation. Like, somebody's been here, something's off, and he doesn't trust it, so he just like keeps a watch.
Okay, so you're gonna stay in there tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in this. I'm gonna stay in the suite near Bear, because like that's where the
something's up.
Yeah, something's up in there.
Okay, something's rotten in Denmark. Okay, so so Bella and Morthos won't be back until the second night. So you have work the next day. You go to work. Kind of the same as before. You're like picking up the tools of the trade, and every once in a while, if you have like a stubborn food that you need help with or whatever, Ajax is more than happy to like stop in and give you a tip. Sometimes it's like, oh, salt and a lemon, I'll take that right off, or whatever things you have on hand. And sometimes it's a little bit more complicated. Lilia visits you again, Bear. She brings another like casserole-esque type dish. Go ahead and make a smell check for me.
I rolled a 15.
So it's basically the same sort of dish that you got last time. You can smell that there's more vegetables in it this time. Still tastes good, but you know that it's like there's some carrots in here this time that weren't in there last time.
God dang it.
Yeah.
Gonna get some vitamin A.
My eyes are fine, Lilia. And she kind of just like does the same thing where she pops in, she sets it down for you. Did you leave the mirror in there?
If he's going to work, he would bring the mirror back to his room.
Okay.
Yeah, he would do whatever to keep it in as in the safest place that he thinks it is. Yeah. So like he goes, well, like Morthos and Bella could come back to the suite when they do it, so I'm gonna move it back to my room, wherever he considers the safest, and when he's at work, it would be his room.
Gotcha. Perfect. So she kind of takes a look around. She's noticed that you've like bumped into a few things, and she like picks up the candlesticks and puts them back in the holders and such while you're eating. And it's the same kind of thing. She just like gives you a couple of like pats after you've finished eating. Cleans everything up. And she brings some water this time as well to make sure that you've got enough going on. And it's generally just like, seems like she's just making sure that you're being taken care of. And because you're being left alone and stuff like that. Is there anything in particular you want like to do with your interactions with Lily, or are you content to like eat and go back to your business? Totally up to you.
I'm content to eat.
Okay.
I'm not a terribly affectionate bear.
Yeah, that's fine. And she seems nice enough. She brings food, So she cleans everything up, and she takes off again the same way she did last time. She'll go and she'll kind of call for you, and when you make a bit of a noise, she'll make her way in, and then when she makes her way out, the door like locks behind her as well. So the second night, you two are still staying in your fancy inn, right, Bella and Morthos?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of have a similar occurrence the second time when you come back to check on things, Fergus. This time, nothing seems knocked over. So it seems like Bear has maybe been a little bit more careful today or something.
I feel like Fergus would find that more suspicious.
That's entirely possible. Yeah. Knowing the things that you encountered the day before, when you check this time, you don't smell anything on Bear's breath this time. she stopped in, now that she's familiar with the schedule, she essentially stopped in a bit earlier, Bear. So it was kind of like while you were fed a little bit like closer to the time that Fergus got home last time, this stop was much earlier in the day. Like pretty soon after he had left. So by the time you get back, there's not like that obviously lingering scent this time, Fergus. So while it might seem more suspicious of the rooms like not askew, there's not the smell of like cooked meats or anything.
Okay. Fergus is still like something seemed off the other night, and with due to the super sketch nature of what they're doing, he's definitely on edge, but he's not like ready to fight as much as he was the night before.
Gotcha. I mean, I think a little bit of like not paranoia, even just like nervousness and anxiety about the security of your surroundings is like super normal in a situation like this.
Yeah.
So, after the morning of the third day, is there anything in particular, Morthos and Bella, that you do before heading back to your suite, the original one?
The golden harp.
Yeah, the golden harp.
I don't think I would
Okay.
have anything.
Right. Then you can wake whenever you want to wake. You have to leave by noon. That's the only restriction on this day. But when you wake is kind of up to you outside of that, and you're free to head back whenever you see fit. So why don't you tell me what you do? The dawn of the third day. I'm kidding. Morning of the third day.
Well, I just wake up like bright and early as the sun's rising. And I'll go straight back to the hotel. I'm not going to bother with Morthos.
Wow.
Ditching him. Wow.
Uh-oh.
I love it.
I think Morthos is in a little trouble then. I think he's continually tried to sleep in and enjoy the luxury that he has while he can. Then yeah, I think Morthos just slept in and kind of expected Bella to be up and like would have gotten him.
Okay. Do you think you overslept past noon?
Maybe didn't sleep past noon, but like didn't leave necessarily.
Gotcha. Okay. So you wake up late in the day or like later in the morning. Time passes and you're recognizing like the sun is almost kind of at the noon position in the sky, and Bella hasn't stopped in to come fetch you. And you've only got maybe like 30 minutes before it's time to leave, or who knows what'll happen. I guess they'll come kick you out maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think, at that point, he's just like, he goes and sees if Bella's there, like goes to her door and is like, we gotta go.
Okay. So you head over, like, I think you guys were in rooms almost next to each other even. And you basically like walk out and you see the like typical like door open and there's somebody in there like cleaning up, like the room's being turned over for the next person. It's not being turned. So.
It's getting turned.
It's getting turned.
Turned over
Getting
for the
turned
next
in
person.
Man, Bella got turned.
Yeah. So there's obviously like she's vacated the premises at this point. What do you do?
Yeah, and then I think Morthos just grabs all his stuff and kind of wanders back to the original inn.
Okay, make a perception check for me.
11.
So as you exit the fancier place that you've been staying, this is kind of like almost like a promenade-esque type area. This is definitely like a series of inns very close to the casino. Like they're all here for a reason kind of thing. And there are like seating areas and little garden installations, and sitting on a bench near like a little garden installation where there's a line of like flower pots and such is a familiar face. They don't approach you, but as you exit, they just kind of like nod in your direction. They've got a book in their hands that you can't tell if they're reading it or they're pretending to read it. And obviously it's a Daro. Just sit there and kind of like watch you as you walk out.
I think Morthos just kind of nervously smirks as walking by, just, hi, like, Adaro gave me a nod, like, hey, I'm here still. And it's like, oh, hey, friend, but no, not friend, but, like, you haven't killed me yet, so.
You're not the worst person I've ever owed money to. They don't make any move to approach you, just kind of like exactly like you said, making sure you know that they're still there. Let you on your way. Okay.
All right.
So, Bella, you make it back first, obviously. Fergus, what time are you waking up in the day these days? Since you're working kind of late.
I mean, yeah, I imagine I'm waking pretty late. Let's say probably around 11, somewhere in the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. zone.
Okay. I think you would arrive home. Both of you would arrive back before Fergus wakes up, before he wakes up naturally.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to you to you all, like what you do in terms of like filling him in and all that stuff. So I'll let you tell me how your morning goes.
No, I wouldn't actually be there. I'm going to try to find a connection to get a hold of the Lark.
Okay. You would remember that she you initially made contact with her when she checked into the room like across the hall and down one. And you've during the couple days that you were still at that place, you saw her around, so it's reasonable to assume she's probably still there. She didn't give you a time frame though, so you could go back to the same place you went before to try to make contact with someone with the candle signaling, or you could check at that door. Those are the two places that you would know to go make contact.
I would leave a note in Thieves' Cant underneath the hotel door.
Okay. What does it say in Thieves' Cant? You don't have to give me the fake part of it.
Basically just like I have a description of the Violet Scepter and need to know if you can find out more.
Okay.
Or if you'd be interested in finding out more.
Would you like to do me this favor?
Would you like to know more? What time about do you think you get back and leave this in the morning? It's totally up to you. Nobody's given you any like time limits.
Like mid-morning, not super duper early, but like not quite brunch time, I guess.
Gotcha. So basically
Crunch
like
time.
you stop back in and you do this and like slip this under the door before you go back to the suite. Okay.
Yeah.
You slip the paper under the door and you do hear a little bit of movement. The sound of like paper being moved against something and just general like what sounds like paper being picked up off of the floor, like the sort of like sound of that and then being folded open and read. There's no like the door doesn't open or anything like that at this time. So if you hang out for just a few moments, it seems almost like somebody paced away from the door, maybe like they're going to go do something, but they don't open the door or anything like that just this moment.
Okay. Then I will return to the suite.
Okay. So you've dropped off that information with whoever's in there. And
just tossed a line. We'll see what happens.
yeah, exactly.
And the room cleaner was like, "This is weird."
They'll never know. And it's probably about an hour-ish before Morthos gets back then. If you're like right before brunch and he's heading back more towards lunchtime. So is there anything special you do when you get into the suite? Doesn't have to be, just an opportunity if there's anything else you want to check up on or do.
I mean, I guess I can check in with Fergus if he's around.
Are you sleeping in the suite again tonight, or are you going to sleep in your room the second night?
I think with the thing being, the night before, I think he'd still be hanging near the suite.
Okay. Yeah, so you go in and he's essentially like asleep on the couch. Like there wasn't another room in there.
Well, then I'm not going to disturb him. Even
though that like Cookie's not staying at the suite, he almost was like, "That's Cookie's bed. I'm not going to use it." So yeah, he's set up on the couch.
Okay.
Then I'm just gonna
chill and wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Post up in a corner, sit on the floor, stare at the bear.
Got it.
Write notes to people.
Thanks a lot, Bella, for telling me you were going. Just left me there.
I think that, especially with him being on edge about somebody coming in, he and then grabs for his sword as he spurns awake, and then like looks around real quick and like notices Bella and Morthos presumably still in the disguise, but a disguise that he has seen. So he goes, "Whoa, I thought you guys were someone else," and then just kind of like sits down to catch his breath while they talk.
Sorry. I didn't necessarily think we needed to leave together.
Well, it would have been nice to just know, like, hey, well, time to go. We gotta go. There's things to do. I was just sleeping in, enjoying the high life.
Oh, okay. And you wanted me to pull you from that? All right. Noted. Next time we do something nice, I'll make sure you don't get to enjoy it the entire time.
I'm just saying, I had to find my way back here all alone.
Oh, you poor thing. How did you manage?
Well, I'm from this place, kind of. I've lived here before.
Oh, okay. So you're fine.
Just, common courtesy or something. I don't know. It would have been nice. Oh, thought we were friends.
We can be friends.
I think at like that level, like Fergus can sense the like awkwardness going on, that he kind of like spouts up and goes, what'd you find out? And also kind of looks at Morthos quickly, and then realizes that Bella was the one who borrowed money. Because like he's used to like Morthos asking for money, and then he's like, oh wait, no, I got Bella's the one who actually.
Oh, I'll give each of you 50 gold pieces.
Oh, okay. So do you hand that over right away, or do you wait for Fergus to like ask?
If you're gonna ask about it, I'll hand you 50 gold pieces.
Okay, so well, yeah, and then Fergus was gonna go, like, I heard you won big.
Yeah, I did pretty well. Here you go. Here's your money back with interest.
Did you also give Morthos?
Yeah, I would have given you the same amount.
He didn't have to like prompt it or anything, because now he's like thinking.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking, is Bella gonna automatically give it to him, or is he gonna be like whine about that too?
And when Fergus like it says thank you when he gets it back, but it's still like it's his money. But then he kind of like waits for them to say what happened.
Well, we saw the Scepter.
And
the collection seems like it's just a bunch of junk. I think we're better off just gambling.
Did you see the necklace?
No necklace.
There was a ring.
No necklace.
Okay, so you saw the whole collection?
No.
Well,
it's a tiered system.
Yeah, the first room with the Scepter. We saw the important part, I guess.
Like when Morthos first was like, yeah, we saw the collection, Fergus like perked up like, oh, so they know where it is. And then when they're like, they didn't see the necklace, he's like, it's not there. And then like, oh, we only saw one room. He's like, what? He like looks at Morthos like, what the fuck? Like, why would you say we saw the collection when you saw one room? And he goes, so what's security like? What kind of trouble are we gonna run into trying to get stuff out?
There's a lot of doors and a lot of guards.
Well, hopefully we'll deal with the guards. I mean, there's doors everywhere. He kind of like gestures at the like doors all around the room. and he goes, anything else?
There was like a fancy looking key thing that this guy did. He stood in front of the door and kind of gestured at it.
And he looks kind of, Fergus looks like quizzical at that.
A lot of doors. Didn't seem very open.
They have a security field around the room, so you can't necessarily get to the objects and touch them without being intercepted by this magic field.
The magic, like, was it like force field? The kill field?
I don't know, ask Morthos. I think he touched it.
Kind of a burning, kind of intense, it felt like this weird sensation coming up my foot and into my body. And
I feel like this might have been a thing that he had to roll at the time, but since he is a magic user, would he have any clue what type of magic that would be?
I doubt that you would know the actual spell, because it's special.
Would he know the school magic?
It's... Yeah, if he wanted to know more about it, he'd have had to, ask questions. Now, if that's something that you want to do, and just because, you're unfamiliar, you're still, learning D&D, we can totally do those rolls now, if you want to, or you want to just, think back and see if you can determine, based on the information. Maybe just
trying to think on it a little harder, right? I don't think I would have asked in the moment, what kind of force field is this? Because, I was already pushing buttons on, what's the collector like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would imagine it'd be an Arcana check or...
Yes, it would definitely be an Arcana check.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
I rolled an 18.
Okay. You know that there's obviously magic to it. It seemed like maybe abjuration or conjuration, something like that. The spell itself wasn't familiar to you. Not even familiar, not even remotely familiar, honestly. Not even something probably would even be in your wheelhouse. But obviously magic, something with those vibes.
Yeah. And he didn't even notice the weird shit about the scepter, so he wouldn't have had to.
Right, I didn't, yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have even been able to scope out what kind of magics are going on there. Okay. So do you, I guess, share that information? Not that it's really that helpful.
Right, I don't really know what the spell was. It was a magical barrier of some kind, and it definitely got more intense over time. That's all I got out of. I just stepped on it for a second and
so
got right off because it started to hurt.
So not strictly a barrier, more of a
a field.
Well, no, because it damages you, it doesn't block you. So
it didn't physically prevent me from crossing the line. It just
it hurts you if you
there was
cross.
An effect.
Yeah. So can Fergus roll an Arcana to see if he can make sense of that in if he, because I'm trying to figure out if Fergus would be able to go okay, this might be something that if you're just strong enough you could overcome, or if this is a thing that would literally kill you, hey, this is a disintegrate thing that was just warming up, or...
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, yeah.
17.
So based on the description, it doesn't sound like any particular spell that you know. You know that people can create various wards and barriers, and that spells can be created. Somebody had to make every spell in existence. They had to discover it. So it's always possible that there's a special magic that someone comes up with, or that there's more than one effect going on at the same time. There is a spell that, while you don't know it, it's something that you could have picked up along the way, called Alarm. That's not this at all, but some of the things that were described seems pretty reasonable. You cross over a threshold, and with Alarm, somebody is notified silently of what's going on, or audibly of what's going on. And this kind of seemed like some sort of maybe version of that, or a barrier of some kind that was intent to first give warning and then perhaps cause harm.
So maybe a modified alarm that...
Yeah, maybe. Or a ward that has a little bit tinge of alarm worked into it. Or both spells active at the same time, maybe.
Would a 17 give him an idea of how to overcome it in any way, other than just a dispel dispel magic type.
Yeah, with wards, it depends on the ward, and you're not sure what ward, if any, there might be or what barrier.
Okay.
Yeah, it would just be dispel magic for the alarm spell particularly. So if this is a modified version, then dispel magic works against most things as long as you're casting it at a high enough level.
Yeah. None of us have dispel magic, so it doesn't really help us.
No, there are scrolls that you could get though.
Yeah.
So the only thing that Fergus could think of would be like, might have to get a dispel magic scroll, or maybe if all it does, like, if we're quick about it,
maybe
just grab the thing and run, kind of thing.
Yeah. I suppose that would, if it is a quick thing. I mean, although of course there's no reason to believe that like the second glass shatters, that thing doesn't amp up to 100.
Right. Yeah. That's the first barrier, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's just like hey, keep your hands back, and not a like, hey, if you actually go farther, it could amp up and keep you away. So like Fergus just kind of like sighs, going like, another hitch. And
I like that Fergus was thinking like, once you're in, right? Like maybe you could just pick stuff up.
Well,
and now he's like, oh no.
Well, actually,
now we've got a plan for this.
Yeah. My thought, Fergus's thought was like, the big hitch is getting into the collection, and then like the main thing is like the guards. Like he figured if there'd be a deal of like break the glass, alarms go off, guards come. He wasn't thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna have a like magic that's going to defend it itself. So he had answers for the guards. He didn't have answers for a magic mechanism that would literally hurt you if you got near it.
Now, to be clear, Morthos didn't take damage.
I didn't take damage, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't know if it hurts you. It could just be like a prod, like, hey, you've crossed over, like you need to step back. Yeah. Or it could explode and kill you all. Like, it's hard to know. But
I think that the idea that Fren gave was that like, hey, this is hurtful, maybe. I don't know.
I think I described it as hurting me too when I said it to Fergus just then.
Yeah.
He was like, it kind of burned and got worse.
And also, Morthos, the minute you stepped over, Fren looked over. So, or like the second, I should say. So before you said anything, he had noticed that. Now, whether that's because he was alerted by this thing or he just was watching you closely as they all were, it's impossible to say. But he knew that you had crossed it before you said anything.
Okay, well, Fergus kind of nods, and then he notes that Bella mentioned the purple scepter, right?
Violet scepter.
The violet scepter. Fergus kind of like looks over at her with like a half smile and goes, so tell me about the scepter.
There's not much to know. All of the rest of the items had a description underneath it, so I got an idea of what the significance of it was. But for the scepter, it was placed on its own, elevated, and there was absolutely no description at all, and it was strange. And I would kind of describe it vaguely to him. I wouldn't give him the details necessarily that I would give to the Lark, but I'd give him a general idea of how like strange it is compared to other staves.
And the fact that like it felt illusionary.
No, I wouldn't mention that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's going to be a big thing based on how he reacts. Then, so Fergus goes, so is it in a glass case or
no?
It's just sitting there.
Yep. In the basest of rooms. Of all of the other magic items in there, they seemed, I mean, they were cool, but they were...
There was chalk.
There was chalk. It was a little gimmicky. They were gimmicks.
A melted candle.
Fergus like perks up when he hears chalk and he goes, "The great wizard Rudy's chalk?" Anybody?
Nope.
No.
Not that.
I'm trying to decipher whether the expanded universe will actually include that right now, or if that's just.
I feel like Katie will.
Make a history check, both of you.
Oh my god.
6.
14.
There's all kinds of magical chalks. This one said null chalk, not Rudy's chalk, but you know.
There's nothing to say that Rudy's chalk doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's all kinds of magic chalk.
Yeah. And then yeah, as they go like no, he kind of like sulks down, going like he's heard of Rudy's chalk. He looks back at Bella and goes, "So as far as you can tell, if we can get back into that room, there's nothing that stops us from quickly just walking up and grabbing it."
We don't know necessarily what that weird outline of the room does.
We were outnumbered in the room too. Like, I guess.
We also don't know if there's like a trip mechanism underneath the scepter, or if like we have no idea.
Fergus,
We can't. I absolutely do not think you can just walk in and grab it real quick. I don't think that would be possible. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Fergus kind of like looks at Morthos again and kind of like scans his like clothing and stuff and goes, "As far as you can tell, was your clothing hurt at all when you stepped over the line?"
No, just my feelings. No, just my insides.
So would it hurt to throw a rope over and pull the scepter to us, and then we don't have to step over the line?
Can anyone here work a lasso?
Yeah. who's lasso
Start
proficient?
practicing on Bear.
For some reason, I feel like you've never conducted a heist before.
There's a reason I'm not in there right now. It's the reason I asked you people.
And there's a reason that I don't think that would work.
Fergus, kind of. Fergus knows that, like, at the end of the day, he still is just going off the secondhand reference, and he can't really know for sure what is in there. So he just kind of goes back to his side of the plan and goes, speaking of getting in there, Bella, your friend, do you think she could get a city guard's uniform that could fit me?
I can certainly ask.
That would be great. And he kind of like looks over to Morthos really quickly and kind of like in a, I don't think so, but it's just maybe two.
See what I can figure out.
I think is Bear awake yet?
Did Bear wake up when I like bust in the door yelling?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think with that, Fergus goes, thank you. This helps. And then he looks at Morthos quick and goes, hey, can you come with me? We gotta go talk to the workers. Me and Bear are gonna go out real quick, but will you be here when we get back?
Yeah, I might go get something to eat, but other than that, yeah,
Okay.
I'll be around.
And then Fergus takes Bear out again for breakfast and a run.
Okay. Go ahead and make your checks. What do we say? The athletics checks to see if Bear and or Rascal can catch Fergus.
Athletics. Fergus got a 6.
Oh, okay. Bear got a 12.
And Rascal got an 8.
Okay. So this time you take off Fergus, and it's like less than a minute before Bear overtakes you. Before Rascal can. Are you gonna like tackle him to the ground, get the food kind of thing, or is it more like how do you catch up to him, Bear?
Tackle.
You get tackled by a bear. One who isn't intending to harm you, I assume.
Yeah, I'm just holding him down so I can take the meat, not off of his bones, but from his arms.
Yeah.
Can Fergus try and like wiggle free or push Bear off?
You can.
Athletics or acrobatics? I mean, they're the same.
Definitely athletics.
12. Okay.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You promised a bear meat if they caught you, and the bear has caught you.
Yeah.
See, this exercising has worked out.
Yeah.
Super strong now.
Yeah, all those veggies.
Today compared to yesterday, like Fergus is definitely very impressed with, I guess, the growth over the like 1-day training, and he just kind of like he's kind of like panting under them as he kind of like chucks the meat to the side to like get Bear off them, and then once like Bear goes after it, Becker's is nodding her head.
Yeah.
He stands up and goes, "Okay, I think you're gonna be fine." and then they like eat, and then he makes his way, like they go back to the suite.
Okay.
Sweet.
So when do you and Morthos plan to go and rabble rouse?
Okay, well actually I think with this so Fergus is going to want to go when it's as dead as possible, so he's actually probably going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Okay.
So
yeah, because like brunchish time is
Yeah.
usually when like they're open and there's maybe a person or two there.
Yeah.
Maybe most
yeah,
days.
so he's probably going to go just kind of like explain like, hey, tomorrow we're going to go in there and just kind of I'm going to represent the casino and restaurant unionization guild. Just back up whatever I say.
Am I also with the guild?
Yes, you are with, and he kind of like looks at the outfit that Morthos has been wearing lately, and he goes, dress a little bit more humble tomorrow.
I was thinking about going as myself.
That's fine.
I'd like to be me tomorrow.
And I think probably before work, Fergus has probably like gotten like a piece of like paper that he's found out, and he's tried to like scribble out like a business card looking thing that's basically says that so that he can like show it to the person he ends up talking to.
Okay. All right. So, based on the amount, so you're going to do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cookie, it's going to take you to feel comfortable with the information that you've gathered that I've given you. It's probably going to take another like 4 or 5 days.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, you'll be meeting up with them probably after they do this. And then Bella, it'll be another like week or so before you hear back. So we'll do the rabble rousing. Cookie, you can take over meeting up with Fergus while he's at work, and then we'll go to Bella.
I guess if like Fergus is making a card, but I don't think he mentioned that to Morthos, right? He's just doing it on his own.
Well, I would be doing it in the suite, so you would possibly be able to
Okay.
see me like scribbling.
Okay, so I think Morthos is going to make his own, but since he has a forgery kit and he's good at it, he's going to try to make like a really official looking one.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and roll.
Did you want me to roll for mine?
What materials do you have on hand, Fergus? Like the ink from the room?
Yeah, I figured like some simple like maybe like a notepad and a like quill that like would just
Like
be
what a
in
hotel
suite.
would have.
Yeah.
Okay. Has Fergus ever like tried to make a business card before?
No.
Do you think you need to roll for that to go
other
exactly
than
how you
his
think?
vote for Fergus cards.
Oh yeah. Well,
Or
That's
Fergus King of Far.
yeah,
King of
I do
Faraway
imagine
cards.
I've had those printed, so I know what a business card, like a nice card would look like.
Okay.
Fergus has not made that.
Okay.
Does he use the back of the King of Faraway card?
No, Fergus would not do.
Don't do that.
No.
Okay. So do you think that Fergus is going to try to go out of his way to make it super fancy, or do you think he's going to try, like, do you need to roll? Because I don't like making people roll
Okay.
and like possibly fail on something that they could standardly do if they just know that it's going to be very plain. But if you want to try to make it really good, then absolutely.
Well, my thought is that, like, I mean, in the world of D&D, would someone really need a gilded business card to represent a work union?
Not necessarily gilded, but like so with a forgery kit, there's like colored inks. So like knowing that this is for like a workers union, it probably wouldn't necessarily be. It would be less like gold inlaid and more colorful, fancy handwriting sort of thing.
I think
Mhm.
he's not going for anything crazy. I mean, so yeah, he's just looking for like a basic, like,
Okay.
my first business card, like something you can get from Vistaprint.
Baby's first business card. Okay. So you can go ahead and just roll like straight dexterity then, because it's going to be like how clean are your lines, how nice is your handwriting. And Morthos, you can go ahead and roll
7.
your forgery.
8.
So not much better than Fergus's.
No.
So essentially the way it comes out is that like Fergus, like your lines are mostly straight. You can like take something and like help make sure that you write in the straight line, and then if you do any like lines on the outside that they're straight, but they're still a little wobbly, the ink gets a little blotchy in a couple of places. Morthos, yours looks like clean because like your base level of ability means you're not just going to like oopsie spill ink all over the place or have blotches, but it certainly isn't nearly as impressive as the like fake invitation. This is a very like plain, straightforward but colorful business card, and you kind of finish and you look at it and you're like, I guess I don't really know what these are supposed to look like, but looks okay. So on that day, you have just made your business card and gotten yourself cleaned up. And keep in mind, like, there's still like 2.5-ish weeks before like the main event. So if you have downtime activities you want to do, then you can make any rolls necessary for completing any downtime tasks. I know like wizards can be like transcribing spells and things like that. So just let me know what it is that you plan to do with that. Interject whenever you feel is necessary, and we can address that as needed. If there's nothing else that anyone plans to do that day, then we can go ahead and skip to the next morning when you head off to Rabble Rouse.
So yeah, Fergus leaves with Morthos, and as they kind of like start walking over there, Fergus kind of looks at Morthos and goes, "Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You are constantly asking for money and seeking money, but as far as I've seen, you have not spent a copper piece. What do you want all this gold for? What are you going to do when you get it?"
Well, money just kind of it's meant to be spent, so like I tend to, treat myself from time to time. Nice little meal here, maybe, spend a night at a fancy place. Just kind of buy a drink, and then before you know it, you're in need of more money. So it just kind of goes in a cycle.
And Fergus Fergus kind of looks at him and goes, like, he kind of like shakes his head as he says that, and kind of goes, as far as I've seen, as few days as I've known you, you seem to get anybody to spend their money rather than you spend yours. But of the group here, if my vague math is right, you might have some of the most gold based on the fact the rest of us have been spending ours and you don't. So is there an amount that you want that's going to make you happy, or what?
Well,
why?
I work for you, sort of, in this relationship, right? So I guess I kind of view it as when you are spending, you're paying me, right? Like, oh, you got the room, that was payment. When we get a meal, that's payment, right? When we do this big job, my share will be payment.
Back at Tanaba, when I first met you, you asked me for a gold piece to throw into the fountain. You weren't working for me then.
I mean, you're a king, right?
I'm not a king. I don't know why you keep telling people this.
Well, you keep telling people that you're gonna be a king or something.
Fergus kind of like lowers his voice and goes, I'm a prince. It's different.
Well, then, yeah, spend your parents' money, man.
My parents are dead. And
so your money, then, there's a disconnect here somewhere. You gotta be loaded.
My grandparents are the king and queen. There's a line, and it's not to me. And I think at that, Fergus like was just trying to like figure out like what Morthos wanted out of, like, why he's trying to get all this money, but he just got all this pushback that he finally just kind of like drops it and kind of goes like, well, you just do you. And he just goes, okay, I'm gonna take the lead on this. Just make sure that whatever happens, they know that I'm the one in charge, because as far as I can tell, I don't think you want to be have the spotlight on you when it comes to things. And he looks at Morthos for agreement.
You got it, boss. That's Morthos doing a voice.
And then I think with that, Fergus just kind of like gives like a deep sigh, and then like quietly walks the rest of the way to the casino. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeons and Gamers. And remember, if you enjoy this, you can subscribe if you're not already, and leave a rating and review on iTunes and Stitcher. It makes us cooler, and I like that. Now, back to the show.
So where we left off, you were basically approaching the Violet Scepter with the intent to try to spur the workers to unionize. And I will leave it in your hands. What do you do?
So we make our way to the like...
Oh, Morthos asked if you're going to have code names on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that happened after recording, but Fergus is still going by the name that he has been going the entire time of Benjamin Key.
Since Morthos isn't wearing a disguise, It's tough because like, does he shoot? I think just call him
Morty.
Yeah,
Ooh, Morty.
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 And yeah, okay, so we make our way up to the casino floor, and Fergus is looking for like a table that has like nobody at it, probably like a blackjack table, because there would be like the dealer, and hopefully nobody else sitting because he went as early as or like at what time he believes is going to be the most dead. And yeah, he's looking for someone. The first requirement is that they're alone. Second requirement is that if they look like a little bit unhappy, that is the second thing. So that's what he's looking for.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check to see if you can spot out. Like, it's easy enough to see whose tables are empty, but who might look like they're having a bad day.
7.
Am I also looking, or
I assume that
Presumably.
you formulated a plan together, and even though he told you he
Okay.
was going to take the lead, like, you can participate. So yeah, sure, go ahead.
17?
Nice. You scan the crowd, Fergus, as you kind of walk in. There are only about 3 people in the place. Most of the smaller blackjack tables are open. Both of the larger ones are open. There's 1 person at a smaller table, and there are 2 people at the slot machines. Insofar as what staff members might look like they're having a bad day, it's kind of hard for you to like get a read on them while they're working, like they're counting cards and dealing and shuffling and doing things like that. And it's generally just they all kind of have, like, from what you can tell, a similar expression when you're looking. Morthos, you catch one younger looking human male, probably early 20s ish, with sandy blonde hair and brown eyes. He's gathering up the cards and he's like stacking chips. And there's just something about like he starts to shuffle and he just looks frustrated with it. And he kind of like stacks the cards back together and puts them down and does like a lean over, like lean on his hand kind of thing, and is like just looking out kind of generally at the casino floor.
I think I just kind of bump Fergus and kind of signal like that guy over there.
For Fergus, like looking at where like Morthos is pointed, he kind of is he now able to go like, yeah, this guy looks a little frustrated.
Yeah, when you first took a look at him, it looked like he was maybe just like working and kind of had like maybe like a blank face. But as you started scanning around, as you look back, he does look maybe not necessarily like openly disgruntled, but there is definitely something like, so he has a look of somebody being like troubled or deep in thought. And he's over here in the corner.
And so it's just the dealer there, or is there somebody else, an actual player at the table?
Empty table.
Okay, then yeah, we make our way over there and sit down.
Okay. So he's kind of like looking out across the casino, and as soon as you are close enough for him to kind of like hear you approaching with intent, he'll glance over, and when he sees you coming to like actually make a seat, then he'll nod at both of you and say, "Blackjack's your game?"
Fergus nods and goes, "Deal me in."
So he'll card down. Morthos, he looks at you too. Do you indicate that you're wanting to play as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
just kind of nod.
So both card up for you, and then they have the one down and the one up.
Okay.
And he just looks up at you, Fergus, because you're the one to his left. So he's basically starting and is just like, would you like another card kind of thing?
Did you want us to roll for this stuff at all? I mean, it's going to be.
Are you planning on actually sitting and gambling for a bit, or are you kind of using this as a guise to like talk to him?
I mean, yeah, it's the guys that talk to him. Obviously, I figure it'll probably be a few hands. This conversation will take place over a few hands. So I don't know
Okay.
if you wanted to roll while we're doing
Sure.
it.
Go ahead and roll. We'll stick with the D100 route just to make it easy and fast.
I got a 43.
I got a 22.
Okay. So both of your cards are up. You had like middling numbers. Each of you were able to take one card and not bust. The dealer flips over, only had 11, had to deal 2 cards to try to beat both of you and busted. So you both won.
All right.
And this is like what did I say these tables were worth? Well, this time of day, they'd probably be less anyway. So we'll say they're like 1 gold tables. And so you get a gold and 5 silver pieces in addition to your original bet that you receive each time you win.
As we're like dealing, Fergus just kind of goes like, "So, how's your day been?" to the dealer.
Oh, it's just getting started. He kind of like, he smiles, but it's obviously kind of one of those like cordial, like a person you're talking to, like on a surface level, sort of like customer service. He smiles as he looks to you, like starting to flip over another card, and he says, "Another round?"
Fergus nods.
He deals you both in and himself in. Go ahead and roll again.
Morthos got a 57.
Fergus got a 65.
Okay. He rolled a 49. So same kind of process. You actually had a high enough hand that you were a little, you didn't want to take another card, Fergus. And when the next card was drawn, you knew that was the right decision because you would have busted. Morthos, you took 1, and that was what you needed to beat the dealer well enough that they were unable to deal themselves up before busting as well. And you both win again. And there's like, go ahead and both of you make a perception check.
11.
19.
There's obviously, when you both win 2 times in a row, he kind of is like, all right, and like scoops the cards back up. Like there's a little bit of like, not even frustration there necessarily, but there's obviously like some sort of negative emotion behind that he was trying to mask while kind of like sweeping the cards in and shuffling them back together.
Fergus kind of goes like, you been working here long?
Only about a month in, actually. Is it that obvious?
Oh no, I'm not a gambling man too much. Just I thought I'd come in here after work. Just making conversation.
After work? You work overnight?
Oh yeah, I'm over at the Frog and Firkin restaurant biz.
Good cafe?
Yeah. I imagine it's not too dissimilar from what you do here, service industry.
Yeah. I don't know, I've never worked in a kitchen myself.
I mean, Frog and Frickin's got all sorts of jobs, but yeah, I'm in the back for now. And I guess Fergus goes, they pay you pretty well over here?
I mean, it's enough, I suppose. And he kind of like nods and is like, another round?
And he nods again.
Okay, so he'll deal you all back in. There's not necessarily like, it wasn't like he was trying to make you stop talking, but there was a little bit of like,
Yeah.
The table stalled for a little bit, so he was seeing if he could get you to play again. So go ahead and roll.
Fergus got a 12.
Morthos got a 27.
Ooh. And the dealer received an 88. So you both had low hands. You had to accept a few cards. You were able to make it up to like a 17 and then were a little nervous, Morthos, and didn't take another card. You busted Fergus, and then the dealer was able to reach 19. So you both lost your 1 gold each. He looks a little bit more pleased after that happens. Not like he feels like, haha, you lost and I got you, but more like almost like relieved in a way.
How's the job security around here?
People come and go. I guess it depends on the cards, huh? He deals another round.
I think with that, Fergus kind of like furrows his brow, kind of like in a like kind of quizzical and like upset kind of deal. Like, why would that matter? Look on his face, as he gets his new cards.
So you furrow your brow, but you don't say anything?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
And he, Fergus got 26.
The other got a 44.
Morthos got a 93.
Okay. So dealer's able to beat you. You stopped before busting Fergus, but had a lower number than the dealer. But you, Morthos, you didn't have you had a 20, not a 21.
Okay.
So you won. Fergus, you lost.
Okay. Fergus, I think at that point, he goes, what did you mean about the cards?
Make a persuasion check.
12. Can Morthos assist me? This is the reason I brought.
Yeah, sure. Do you, how would you, knowing that he's like probing for information, Morthos, how would you try to help sound persuasive? Like, what would you say or do to try to get on this person's good graces?
I think I'd address Fergus. I'm gonna do a voice of Morthos doing a voice, and I hope it works.
God.
I love it. Voiceception.
This is Matt doing Morthos doing a voice.
Yeah. It's the same voice I was doing before, boss. we're blue collar guys, union guys. I think he was making a joke, Benny, about the cards.
I think like Fergus kind of like looks over at him again, like and goes and then looks back at the dealer and goes, I didn't, was that a joke?
Go ahead and make another roll then for your advantage.
17 for the second one.
Okay. So he kind of like stops and looks at the two of you and he says, well, sometimes you get a streak of bad luck and they want to make sure that you're not cheating for your friends.
And they make sure how?
I don't really know.
He just kind of lets that sit for a second. And he goes, oh, sorry, I didn't quite catch your name. Are they wearing name tags at all, or?
They are, but you could still ask. His name's Joseph.
Nice to meet you, Joseph. Benjamin, Morty, and he, as he points to Morthos.
Hey, how's it going?
Nice to meet you both. Another round?
Yeah.
Dealer rolled a 75.
51 for Morthos.
Okay. So Fergus rolled a 90, but I think after hearing that, I think Fergus is gonna throw it. Like, he's gonna get whatever, and then he's gonna ask to hit when it's obvious he shouldn't.
So you've got like 19, and you're like, oh, this is good. And then you ask for another card, and he'll kind of like give you an eyebrow, and he's like, you sure?
Yeah. I wouldn't, what do I care?
He flips the next card over, and it's a 7.
And yeah.
What are you doing? That was my card.
What?
You took my card. I was gonna get you at a 19. Why are you hitting on a 19?
Forget.
I'm just doing full Boston now at this point. So.
I love it.
Fergus looks over at Morthos and just goes, just helping a friend. He's a fellow working man. And look.
Well, now we both lost.
He looks up and he's like, we're helping a friend for Joseph here. He goes, but I'm sure you probably don't need they give you benefits here? You probably got like, dental and stuff, right? What?
No, I don't have dental. Frog and Fur can give you dental?
Well, I mean, that's, a small restaurant, but here, and he kind of like, kind of leans in a little bit, and he goes, you ever hear of Elysium down Baldur's Gate?
Can't say I have, no.
Oh, it's this nice casino they got down there. I used to work there. Some of some of the crew, boss wasn't too kind, and I mean, paid us for shit. And eventually, a few of us got together and we demanded, medical, dental, guaranteed raises and stuff. And obviously they weren't having it, but we walked. We went outside and striked, and eventually they caved, and now everybody at Elysium's got the nicest teeth you ever did see. And
I love this storyline.
Make a deception check. Morthos, are you planning on helping him with the story?
Yeah.
What do you say? Or what do you do?
They must pay you well here, right, Joe? Joseph, can I call you Joe?
Okay, go ahead and make it with advantage.
Yep. I was like, I got a 19 on the first one, and the second one is a 10. I feel like it should be like Morthos rolling as well would help, but
no. He's using the help action to give you advantage.
Yeah,
right?
he's got the higher roll, like he's got a higher deal to it, but it's fine.
But you did say to let you take point.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my hope was that like he could still talk, but at the same point deferring to like you're the boss. But
I see.
But yeah, this works.
Okay.
19 and 10 was my rolls.
So he looks almost like he doesn't believe you at first, and then he thinks about it, and he kind of like looks around like not shifty-eyed, but like kind of like glances around, and then says, "That really work? They didn't just hire someone else to do it instead?"
Fergus kind of like sees that he sounds a little interesting. He looks around and goes, "Yeah, I mean, if one of you quits, that's not going to work, but if all of you get organized and walk out at the same time, maybe, during a time when they really need workers, and like what that big tournament they got coming up, they'll have to give you whatever you want to so they can keep this place running. Is that something you'd be interested in?"
Nah, he's not interested.
What?
I was gonna support.
Are you working together? You're like, I'm with Joseph.
Well, no, you're giving him you're like selling him, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's not interested. He gets paid well here. Look at this place. They're not working for tips.
Okay, so you're making it sound like they should be getting more than they.
But he's underpaid, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
He kind of like looks from one of you to the other one, and he was like, "You get tips?"
Oh, they're not giving you your tips. Oh, fuck. The Elysium. I mean, along with the like, I don't know, what's like a good amount of gold to get, like, if.
So, like a skilled craftsman, I think earns like 2 gold a week. So somebody who works in like the service industry would probably be, depending upon what they do, like probably slightly less than that to about that to maybe slightly more. It just depends on like how upscale the place is, how how skilled they are at what they do, et cetera, et cetera. But that would be nice living, would be like
Right.
2 gold a week.
Okay, so
That's why adventurers ruin the economy everywhere they go.
So with that knowledge, Fergus is gonna go like, yeah, God, it's been a minute, but we're pulling down. He looks over at Morthos. I was like, we got like a gold a night for wages, and then tips on top of that. A good night. Some drunk gamblers. A party going on. God, you come back with like 10 gold.
10 gold?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna promise you that every night, but yeah, I mean, with a good union backing you, you're gonna be living fine.
This pulled me in today to tell me that I lose too much.
Fergus kind of looks at Joseph and he goes, "Tell you what," and he pulls out his card, and like as they go to like grab the other cards, he like sets his business card down and goes, "Why don't you quietly talk to some of your coworkers and see if, they'd be interested in a little finer living, a little bit better pay, maybe, some nicer teeth. And if that sounds good, I'm kind of got the same, talking to some people over at the Frog and Firkin, see if they're, on in. That's why I'm over there. Kind of, working a couple of jobs in town. And you get some people, meet me over at the Frog and Firkin, ask for Benjamin, and we'll see what we can do."
I'm not going to get anyone from the kitchen or any of the guards here, but the tables. Maybe.
I mean, hey, you talk to who you can talk to, because I mean, it wasn't just the people at the tables who were pulling good gold. And I mean, look, I'm sure, and he like looks up at the guards and goes like, "I'm sure they probably aren't feeling that secure about their jobs every day." And I'll tell you, it wasn't just the people at the tables who were seeing an increase in living after we had our little walkout.
He kind of is like nodding as you're talking, and he's like swipes up the cards and like folds the paper, like the little card, and like kind of like slides it down his sleeve as he's like picking up the cards and shuffling them. Actually, what are both of your passive perceptions?
My passive is, that's insight, 12 is my passive.
Okay.
10 is mine.
Okay, so actually he sweeps up the cards, and you know that you have set the business card on there, and after he sweeps up the cards and like stacks the cards back together, you don't see where his gone, but it's gone. It's disappeared. Both of you. And he's kind of like nodding along. He kind of like shuffles a few times, and he's like, "If we were to come and talk, just talk.
Mm-hmm.
When would we do it?"
I mean, well, as we said, that a big tournament would be a excellent time to negotiate with the upper management. So, I don't know, a week before then, may talk to your people, talk to your coworkers, see who'd be interested. Come see me, and I'll tell you what the next step is. I will handle the negotiations. I just need to make sure, the people of this the workers here want to be treated well. And isn't that right? And he kind of like looks over at Morthos to kind of just be like, in agreement.
Yeah. I forgot the accent now. So
Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
he said.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I was thinking I was getting like too Jersey with it, and then I was like, how do I get back to?
The best thing is, Favorn's not real, so it can be whatever you want, and it can modulate however you like. I'm bad at accents, so I say that's fine. But he kind of like nods thoughtfully and like looks around. He starts to look maybe a little nervous, and he's like, "You gonna play anymore, or you done for the day?"
At that point, Fergus, let's see. I'm actually 1-2 lost 3. So at that point, Fergus goes, "You know what? I feel like we get some planning to do. But you have a good night, and he takes 2 pieces of gold and sets it on the table and goes, something to look forward to. And he gestures for Morthos to follow him out.
Okay. He scoops that up and kind of like nods as you're both leaving. Start shuffling cards again as you walk away. He seemed intrigued. He seemed very nervous, but definitely intrigued.
Okay. So yeah, and then we leave and go back to the suite.
Okay. All right. So the next thing that would come up in the timeline would be about 5-6 days later. And that's when Cookie feels confident with the information that she's gathered to touch base with Fergus. Anyone else doing anything in particular at any point within those couple of days?
I think Morthos is just like regularly going to maybe the same place to get food.
Okay.
Like he's, just going somewhere, sitting down, having a little meal.
Yeah, I do. When I had talked to Cookie last, I did say like if anybody sounded like they seemed unhappy with their job, to maybe like encourage that kind of deal. So hopefully Cookie has, if she has heard any rubble rousing about people being unhappy, she has encouraged that.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, it hadn't happened yet, I guess, technically.
Yeah,
It had, but when I had you roll before, it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I had the conversation, but we hadn't talked to them about unionizing. But yeah, the timeline's a little fluid.
Yeah. So go ahead and make a couple of make one perception check and one insight check, Cookie, just for general like information gathering during this time. Morthos, are you saying you want to go to the same place? Like you're going to go to the Frog and Firkin and eat every night, or you're going to find like your own little cafe?
Somewhere kind of near the inn we're at now, the Golden Harp. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Somewhere near there, but just like that, he's made a pattern of going there in case anyone took notice of that or anything.
Okay.
And maybe he's spending some of his money that way too.
Okay.
Perception is 7, and insight is 22.
Okay. So over the course of the week, while you're like really trying to gather information about like the guard schedules and kind of like touching base with Rico a couple of more times to see, just to chat and see what you can find out, like clandestinely. There's nothing in the kitchen directly, and Rico doesn't say anything, but there are a couple of times when you're walking through the floor of the casino, and it seems like a couple of the like card tables, the people are kind of like leaning over and whispering to each other, and when you walk by, they like kind of like shift back to their own tables and deal, and you see a couple of people like talking in the corner at one point. Like when it's not busy and they can get away, there's like chatting going on, and there's a point where there are 2 people standing if you look at the map, it's like the corner of this is a stairwell that kind of like goes from the bottom and curves up and comes around the top. So there's a banister right here, and there are 2 of the dealers that are the card dealers who are standing here and having like a chat, and they're quiet at first as you're walking past. One of the times you're going to go up to talk to Rico, but when they think that you're out of earshot, they start talking again, and one of them says something about, yeah, well, this guy says he can help. He says over in Boulder's Gate, they got to keep their tips. And that's like, the other one's like, shh, 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 and they talk more quietly after that. But you catch just enough of the conversation to know that somebody said something about like, there's some guy giving them information that they could be doing better, basically, financially. So you do catch that.
Okay. So I guess at this point, Cookie would just go to the Frog and Firkin and meet with Fergus.
Okay, so you're not going to talk to anybody?
Well, she already did the, like...
Well, no, I'm saying, like, knowing that they're unhappy, she's not going to, like, say anything to them.
I guess
that's up to you.
with the people at the tables, I don't feel like she would because they don't know her. They don't interact with her. So it's like, why would they really talk to her?
After you've been there for a while, there is kind of like, there's a distinct separation between the people who work like in the cafe, the people who are working the tables, and like the guards. And it's not like anyone hates each other, but it's like cliquish almost. And part of that you can gather easily over time is that the people who are paid the least are definitely the people at the tables. And there's a lot more turnover in those positions too. In fact, you see like 2 people come and go over the course of the time that you're there, just as you're walking through, because you're paying attention. So you notice things like that. Like other people in the kitchen might not have any idea that that's going on, but because you're actively like gathering information, it's something that you notice that there are 2 people who just like stop showing up one day, and there are 2 new people that come in at some point afterwards. Sure. So you totally could go up and talk to them, but there is sort of a little bit of like you feel like they might not like talk to you about it because there's that kind of like striation amongst the different like labor groups, I guess.
No, I think she would just go to Fergus.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Fergus yells at her.
Yeah.
And then she'd cry and go, I'm trying.
Don't do this. This is really hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's the 2 of you have this arrangement established, so it's easy enough for you to show up and let them know that you're looking for your friend like you did last time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the servers kind of like pops their head in the back, Fergus, and says, "Hey, Benjamin, your lady friend's here."
And Fergus kind of like goes as she says, "Lay friend," and he like sticks his head out and sees Cookie, and he's like, "Oh," and then he comes down and sits where she is.
So I've learned a bit more information about the guards. There's a lot of them.
Do you know how many?
In general, just on the casino floor, if it's just like nothing's really going on and it's kind of a slow day, they have about 3 to 5. And during like big busy times, there's going to be about 8 to 10 just on the casino floor. And on the entrance, there's always 2 at the front door and like 2 in the lobby. And if it's a downtime, there's only 1 like in the main little lobby area. And then there's actually one person that really sticks out to me. They're way at the very end of the hallway, at the main hallway as you walk in. And they're like this really big and armored, like they're wearing a helmet and everything. And they are there all the time. I haven't seen them leave or like switch out with another person. It's very odd, and they're not very approachable, and I don't really see people talking to them. So it just seems like they're there for a reason, but I don't know why.
Did you try giving him a cookie?
No, he scares me.
and Fergus just
I don't have Bear with me. She's my courage.
And he goes, okay, did you catch anybody's name, or do you know like where people are stationed?
Well, there's basically like I don't know, 3 different subgroups of guards. Like there's the ones that kind of just roam around and kind of just watch everything. And then there's the first floor guys, at that main door where that big scary person is. And then there's a little bit of a smaller group that are specifically just for like the collection area.
I talked to Bella and Morthos. They managed to get into the collection a little bit.
Oh, good.
I guess there was a guy there to detect for illusion magic. Has your friends mentioned someone like that?
No, I
Okay.
haven't heard any of that.
Keep an eye out for someone who looks like a guard but not like a guard.
Okay.
Someone more than someone to punch people.
Okay. I mean, there's like the different managers and stuff that walk around. They kind of do.
Morthos lumped him in with the guards, so
Oh,
not a
okay.
manager.
Oh.
So somebody like that. And he goes, well, I managed to get over there to talk to some people about unionizing. Have you heard anything about, any talk?
Not really in the kitchen area, or Rico hasn't said anything. But there was this time where I walked by some table employees, on the casino floor, and they said something about a guy trying to help them, and that like Boulder's Gate, like they get to keep their tips there or something. So something's going on.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Well, they definitely seem really interested in that. While I've been there, there definitely is kind of like a divide between like the guards and the kitchen and the casino workers. The Let's just say the casino workers, they don't stick around for very long. I've already seen like a few come in and out in just the couple of weeks that I've been there, and so it seems like something's going down with them that isn't keeping them around.
I mean, that's fine. I was hoping that this was gonna get some guards out of the way. So if you maybe next time you're talking to some guards, maybe just mention that, you've seen some other casinos that maybe paid a little bit better, that maybe ran a little bit differently. Maybe, they'll hear some talk as well that they might want to join in on.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I know Rico, he hasn't said anything specifically, but I know I kind of told you this last time too, is that they're just they're there to work and to do the job, and that's kind of how it is. So,
Well,
I don't know. It just
as I can say, more money is never a bad thing, and I'm sure your friend's probably gonna agree. So
yeah.
I'm sure he's there for the job, but if it paid a little bit better, I'm sure he'd be happy.
Yeah, I'll try and plant a seed for that.
Subtly.
Yeah.
Fergus just kind of goes, Bear misses you.
Oh, did you scratch her under the chin like I asked?
Yes.
Okay.
and then he's like, I gotta get back, and heads back to the kitchen.
Okay. See you later, Benjamin.
So if there's nothing over the next day or two, then Bella, what are you spending your downtime doing? It could literally be nothing but going and grabbing meals every once in a while. Where are you at generally throughout the day?
Honestly, depending on how many people are around, it sounds like everybody else is out except for Bear, right?
Yeah, Morthos seems to be going out and taking meals fairly often. Fergus, of course, has his part-time gig to go to at night. Cookie's gone. Bear's the only one that's generally hanging around, except when they're going out to do races and stuff.
I guess I would mostly be hanging out, trying to keep, or occasionally keeping Bear company. And also just chilling, waiting for further direction from Fergus or connection from or contact from the Lark.
Perfect. So, a couple days after the like Cookie catching up with Fergus, I don't know how much you might fill them in on Fergus, but
I'm not sure how much is worth sharing. I think he'll probably just be like, Cookie says there's like about 10 guards on, probably share that much. I don't think anything else is.
okay. So you know that they've had a chance to talk a couple of days after that. Similar to kind of like your note under the door. There's a point about midday where a piece of paper is slid under the door. And you and Bear are the only ones there and awake at the time.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up.
Okay. The note is almost like a series of haikus. One's about a bird and like it going out in the morning and catching a worm early. And then the other one is like a second mouse gets the cheese kind of like story, but you can read the thieves can't through it. And it's contact back. Essentially, they've taken some time to look into it and they have heard of keys that are like interdimensional almost in a way. It's a very sophisticated like locking mechanism that was developed by particular dwarven like locksmiths for big spenders basically to protect their assets. It sounds like that not only what Fren was using was that, but the description that you gave them of the scepter made them suspiciously curious that there's something similar going on with that.
Mm.
And did you tell them about the wall too?
Yeah, definitely.
And they seem to be of the mind that there might be some sort of like secret, like back room kind of thing. Like that might be another entrance to to another room. It's hard to say what might be back there, but what you noticed sounds along those lines. They also mentioned that they have decided in one of the rooms, there is an item that is it's essentially like a skeleton key. It's called the Locksmith's Bane. And it moves. It is a key that does move, but instead of being this sort of like interdimensional key, it simply is a key that can contort itself to fit any lock and unlock it. So, a particular note to your associates. And that is the item that they request in return for the information and the assistance that they've provided.
All right.
It's a keyblade. The violet scepter is a keyblade.
Okay, I know that the keyblade is something from
Oh no.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, but I've never played
yeah.
that, so I don't know.
The keyblade's
man.
like basically it's the weapon that he uses against the enemies, but also there's like doorways between the different Disney worlds, and he has to like point it at the door or point it at like a giant keyhole to enter or exit. So it's a weapon that is a interdimensional like key.
So I accidentally made the keyblade.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
it's
Yeah.
a
Good.
keyblade scepter.
Awesome. Good stuff. That wasn't intentional. I've never played that game. But that's what it's sounding like, increasingly.
Perfect.
Oh, did she get the guard uniforms?
Yeah, she hasn't mentioned those. I don't know if she remembered.
Would you have sent a separate letter or slipped in a separate letter under the door at some point about the guards' uniforms, or were you waiting to hear back before you asked anything else?
I was waiting to hear back before I asked anything else.
Okay. The letter was just slipped under your door. So presumably either Lilia or the Lark or somebody else is close by.
Well, I guess I'm going to seek them out.
Okay. Where do you go?
I would go down to the lobby.
Okay. So you gather yourself and you head out?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, sounds good. So you make your way through the hallway and you head down to the lobby. There doesn't seem to be anyone around except the person at the front desk, just like at the second. But it did take you, you had to read the thing. So if somebody just dropped it off, they might have already gotten out of here by now.
Right. I will go out and about and look for a place of like commerce, like a marketplace or something where there's going to be a lot of people.
Okay.
And just as I'm walking around and like window shopping and stuff, I'm going to be making like those subtle signals to see if anybody from the Thieves Guild picks up on my actions.
Okay. Go ahead and make either a perception or an investigation, because you know what you're doing. You're more keeping an eye on things around you to see if anyone else is taking note of what you're doing. So this is about you seeing if you notice anyone picking up on what you're doing.
All right. I rolled a 15 on perception.
Okay. So you make your way through kind of like one of the market squares, and there are some established buildings, and then there are some almost like carts that obviously are either locked up or taken away, kind of like at the end of the market day, where this is like, there's the establishments that are in buildings, and then there are the like not transient. That's not the sort of word that I'm looking for, but the sort of people who like set up shop in the morning and then have to take their wares away at the evening. Like they buy a space, but not a building. So you make your way through and have a couple of like small talky conversations. And there's a point where when you're in the area with the sort of like carts that must come in at the beginning of the day and like have like rent a spot where they can like busk or sell their things. You're having a conversation with somebody selling like simple little like jewelry items, but it's almost like more like costume jewelry. Like they're not expensive and they look nice, but they're clearly not made out of like the finest materials. And as you're signaling, this person, they kind of almost like slide in quietly, like they're looking at their wares as well. And as you finish the last signal, this person says, "Oh, I see you're an admirer of certain items." And there's like this, they're recognizing that this isn't like nice stuff to it. And when you look at them, they have this, they've got kind of like, not super short hair, but kind of like closely cropped. It's like light brownish, medium brown maybe. They have these really piercing blue eyes though. And that's kind of like a striking thing that you notice about them.
All right. In code, I'm going to ask for their name.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask anything that's like going to out me as a Thieves Guild member or anything. I'm just going to see if they speak Thieves' Cant.
Gotcha. So in return, the response you get is essentially like, "Let's take a walk."
Cool.
Okay.
We're doing it.
So this person, they kind of gesture with one hand, like as if to say, like, "You go first."
All right.
And they're not gonna like follow you, but they're kind of more like, "Here, let's go this way." And when you start going, they'll match pace with you.
Okay.
And as you get a few paces away, they say, "Oh, fancy meeting someone of our persuasion out in the open like this."
Wait a sec.
You don't know that.
I know.
The piercing blue eyes really
Yeah.
tipped it off.
Adoro.
Cool. So I did not attract a person of the Thieves Guild. I just attracted
No, they definitely they knew the code and they knew the cant.
Okay.
So
I feel confident that they're a part of the Thieves Guild.
Yeah, it would be pretty remarkable given that the signals change over time and that the cant is something that's like closely guarded by the guild. And sometimes is modified when it seems like maybe some of it is being like cracked by guard or something like that. It would be pretty tough for this person to have picked up on it and to have been able to respond to you in a way that made you feel comfortable if they weren't part.
Okay. Cool. So the last thing that they said was basically to the effect of fancy seeing another thief, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like, I saw you signaling what's up, kind of like fancy meeting
Gotcha.
someone of our persuasion out in the open like this.
Cool. So, maybe I should not have played a rogue. I just feel like I'm not tactful enough with my real mouth.
I think it went really well. You got what you were looking for.
Thanks, guys.
Like, I know I'm not supposed to talk to this guy, and I don't know what to do now.
But Bella doesn't know.
Yeah, Bella doesn't know. As far as Bella knows, this is
as long as you guys don't walk by me sitting at a cafe.
This is your buddy.
I just so I'm speaking to a person from the Thieves Guild, and I'm basically going to I'm going to ask them if there's a way that I can ask the Thieves Guild for guard uniforms, right? That's what Fergus wants from me next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing.
City Watch uniforms, not like guard, like not uniforms from the Purple Scepter. Like people from
City Watch.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person of this persuasion, and I need city guard uniforms. That's what I'm asking for.
That's what you're asking. Okay.
Yep.
So after the initial kind of like fancy meeting you here sort of thing, they do introduce themselves. They call themselves the oh gosh, I have this written down. Hold on, sorry, 1 second.
But what is their favorite dessert?
When thieves are talking in thieves' cant, does it just sound like cool, like bebop
poetry?
talk?
Have you seen what it was, Ocean's 12 or 13? I think it was 12, where
I haven't seen those.
there was a scene in Ocean's 12 where like 3 of the gang go to meet with like a mob boss, and they're just like, quite the summer's day, and they're like, yeah, like, and my frog is feeling quite unwell and stuff. And then like I remember the new guy to the crew that they were training, like they brought him along, and he was feeling left out of the conversation because he didn't know what was going on. He was just like, yeah, and this fall is going to be quite nice. And they're like, no, you don't say that. You just insulted his mother.
Yeah, it was just silence, and then
Yeah, I feel like that's thieves' cant, where you're just kind of saying words, but it like they don't mean what you think they mean.
It's a code. They're speaking common, and to anyone else, it sounds like they're just having a conversation. Maybe it's a little weird at times.
Okay,
but
yeah, I guess that's what I was gonna like. Back at that market stall, it's like they're just kind of speaking gibberish to each other, right? And
not even gibberish. Away. They could have said something like, you know, the sun's high in the sky. Ah, yes, and the air is fresh. You know, may the path on which you walk be fortuitous. But what they're saying is like, oh, it's time we should go for a walk or whatever. Like,
right.
It sounds like, it can sound a little like out of place, like, oh, and my frog is going to be sick or whatever. But it's not like a different language or gibberish. It's like an intentional code where they're signaling things. So instead of communicating in actual words, it's like concepts based on what they're saying. And the way I see it in writing is similar. Like there's like stories or poems or whatever, but there's like purposeful misspellings, and there's like punctuation in weird places, and it clues you into what like letters you're supposed to pick out to find the message. So it's kind of like speaking in code out loud.
Yep.
So they introduce themselves as the vessel.
The vessel?
Yes. And
it's a nuclear vessel.
Whistle.
Whistle.
That is something that might be quite tricky. I think I could procure a few, maybe slightly old. You could patch it up a bit, but it would be passable without too close an inspection. I tend to acquire and find people to acquire things, if you catch my meaning. Their offense.
Right. Ooh, that could be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. What's your price?
2 slightly outdated guard uniforms. 15 gold.
Done.
All right. Should I meet you or will you meet me?
I guess I don't want to insult you, but I'm not sure when to approach you again. Should we pick a time and I will find you?
That's well. I won't take more than 2 days.
Okay. Shall we meet back here?
That sounds agreeable. Around the same time, I will have a package.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I shall see you in the day. And they make a small bow and exit. Kind of disappear into the crowd as they start to walk away. Urban camouflage style.
Perfect. I'll meander about, not go straight from the marketplace to the hotel.
Okay.
I basically make it a habit to never interact with someone from the Thieves Guild and then go directly back to my place. I always make
cover your
it hard
tracks
to
kind of
track
thing.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, smart. Smart. Okay. So you're confident that it's not going to take more than 2 days. You do kind of feel like you got off, that should be more expensive than it was, and it was cheaper than it should be, but it's probably because you're from the guild that they're basically giving you the guild price kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any plans over the course of the next 2 days?
No, I guess the only other thing is maybe just Cookie planting the seed into Rico to that.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh.
God.
Wow. More than work friends.
Is there a point during all this? I think actually there would have been a point during all this where Bear would have been alone for a bit too. Basically anytime you're left alone, Bear, Lilia shows up shortly thereafter with a little bit of food for you and just disappears before somebody comes back again.
We're best pals. Cookie who?
Oh. You broke Aaron's heart with that.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Cookie who? And we all go,
Yeah.
oh my god. Okay. Sure. Then why don't we go ahead and do that then? So what was your plan then, Cookie?
I guess it would probably I could see her trying to do that the day after she had the conversation with Fergus to try and just she's like, I need to do this. Her anxious mind is saying you gotta do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yep.
I like how Cookie also has anxiety.
It's on her character sheet.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
It is.
So the next day, I don't know, I could see her maybe mid shift if there's downtime, she's just kind of taking a walk around and then maybe just kind of pop in and say, hey, to Rico.
Okay. And the idea was I'll let you tell me what you say.
Sure.
So yeah, he's got a pretty standard shift. It's roughly similar to yours. He might come in an hour or two earlier or later any given day, but mid shift should be a time that he's there. So you see him standing up there, guarding the same door as always.
Mm-hmm.
Easy enough to approach.
Yeah, she's gonna walk up to him, and she's not gonna be as peppy as she usually is.
Okay.
And Jess is kind of hey, Rico.
You okay?
Yeah, well, it's I know I haven't been here very long, but it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just being a bit, I don't know, too needy or whatever, but I just feel people say they love my skills and everything and that I'm great and all, but it's I don't know, I just feel I'm not getting paid enough, to be honest. It's I kind of travel around and work at different places and stuff, and so I'm only here for a temporary amount of time, but so I don't expect like a ton of stuff, but it's like I've been to in air quotes like lower tiered places,
Mm-hmm.
and they have pay that's like competitive to what it is here, and this place is like way fancier. And I'm just kind of like, the only reason why I'm really kind of sticking around is that I know I'm going to be out of here in like, I don't know, a couple weeks or so. And so, I'll just move on to the next place. But it's like, you guys are here all the time dealing with this.
I've never worked at another casino. Done some guard work here and there. They not pay well in the kitchen, or?
I mean, as far as like, since, I'm kind of higher up in the kitchen, it's fine. But like,
Could be better.
yeah. And what I heard is that there's this place in Boulder's Gate where their table people, the table employees, they get tips. So they can get like 10 gold a night. And that's just the table people? Can you imagine like a person in your position would get? Since, since you're security and stuff?
Yeah, I will say boss pays us pretty well. He knows that you got to keep the people that keep your goods
Yeah.
safe happy.
Oh, good.
Of course, I thought definitely don't make 10 gold a night.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I'm hearing about.
Make a persuasion check.
Roll high, baby. Yeah.
23 for persuasion.
Hey,
Don't do
hey,
anything
guys.
you want.
Hey guys, this heist is over. We're done. Roll in, no guards.
Insurrection.
Let's just fucking.
Security is on our side.
Insurrection.
So over the course of the conversation, he goes from feeling like, well, hey, they pay us pretty well. Like we're, boss knows to keep the people, keeping his goods safe, happy kind of thing. And the more you kind of talk about it and give him like little details and stuff, you can just kind of see the wheels turning. And like he said before, like, hey, it's a job. I'm here. I'm going to do my job well, but, you just need the money at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And, like, there's definitely like some wheel turning there. And it was pretty quick turnaround once you started to give him a few of the like details that you mentioned, where he went kind of from like, yeah, but we up here, we're good, we're sitting pretty, and then you give him the dollar amounts or the gold amounts,
Mhm.
and there's a little bit of like disgruntlement there. He's not like actively like showing it too much, but you've talked to him enough that you at this point can read him pretty well.
Mhm.
And you can see that there's definitely like some thought going on back there.
Yeah, and I can see her saying, like it sounds like there's a person that the table employees have been talking to maybe help them with this kind of stuff. I don't know who it is, because the kitchen staff, they don't really talk about these kind of things, so I don't know. It's just stuff that I'm hearing, kind of going around, and it's just kind of making me think about it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just having one of those days,
I don't know. You're like the nicest person I've ever met. So
Well, thanks.
I don't think you can have one of those days. I mean, maybe I don't know you that well, but
Yeah.
who helps with something like that? Like the guards?
I think it's something called like a union. Is that not allowed?
Well, last time somebody started talking about that, it didn't go well. Let's just say that.
Ooh, so it's been talked about before.
Yeah, before my time, I heard stories.
Oh, so maybe I'm not overreacting then.
Maybe not.
Hmm.
How do they know what they're going to do to help? They're going to march in here and demand things from people they don't know?
I don't really know the details, but it just seems like they're going to do something.
Listen, don't go saying that to too many people.
No, okay.
They're going to think you're one of them, and they're going to let you go.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I won't.
Not that it's a bad thing, but that's what happens.
Oh. Well, thanks for having my back.
Yeah, well, you're nice. You make good bread pudding.
I'll make you another one.
Keep your mouth shut.
I'll buy your silence with bacon. He looks quite excited at the prospect.
Well, I better get back down and see how they're doing in the kitchen. So I just wanted to come out and stretch my legs a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't stay cooped up. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too.
He definitely looks like contemplative as you walk away.
There we go.
All right. I'm going to roll a couple things, actually, with that in mind now.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And then Cookie gets fired.
I'm worried Cookie tipped off the guards now, and now, right? Like, how tempting is it to keep your mouth shut versus keep your job? Or
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, Cookie gets fired, but she was really just there to gather information, which is done.
Yeah.
She just might be a little sad personally, is all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just if,
Never been
if they're
fired
extra
before.
prepared now.
Yeah.
See, the deal with this was that, like, if the workers, if, like, you know, it gets found out that, oh, someone's trying to unionize, they're not going to go, yes, this is a ploy to rob us. They're just going to go, hey, you know, we need to do something about this unionization. If anything, like, it'll, you know, turn workers against each other and make it easier for us to slip in and be like, hey, you guys seem upset with each other. We're going to steal your shit now. Bye.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, like, maybe it'll tip them off.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll start some conversation amongst the people who seem to be, like, the most well-paid in the place.
You know who does know? Katie.
Who does know? This girl. Right here. This purple hair right here. This one knows. So, unless anyone has anything to do over the next couple of days, then Bella will have her opportunity to go meet back up with the vessel.
I just want to throw in, I think Morthos has figured out that there's like no food at like he's going out to eat. So he's realizing that like he's going to start bringing leftovers back for Bear. Because he's like, Bear's just there, stuck there, no food.
No, I mean, Fergus has been feeding Bear regularly. Like, he's always bringing food
Does
back.
Morthos know that?
Yeah, I don't know that we're communicating with each other necessarily how much we're
I think
feeding
Bear's
Bear.
just getting fed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Bear acts like she's not being fed by anyone.
but Bear has just been getting fucking huge.
That sounds wonderful.
If it wasn't for, like, the daily runs, like, she would be, like, half the room.
So funny story. Gracie, our cat, was scamming us for food for like 3 months. She kept gaining weight. We weren't sure why. And even went and got her like this because she makes sure she has some wet food every day to like keep everything going, right? And she even went and got her like a weight control wet food because she was just gaining a lot of weight. And we found out the hard way that what this hussy was doing was waking one of us up at like 4 a.m. to refill the dry food, letting that one go back to bed, eating most of it, and then waking the other one of us up at like 6 to refill it like, oh, boo, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten all night.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
And one time I caught her because I gave her wet food one day and was giving her some more. And I was like, oh, I swear I gave her some today. And she was like, well, I don't know. It was empty down here. So I thought it was from yesterday. And I was like, huh. Me being the forgetful person I am, I was like, I was probably like yesterday, and I just don't know the difference between yesterday and today. That's not all that uncommon. And then it was the next morning. I was actually still awake. That's how I figured out that she had come bothered me for food. And I was like laying down on the couch out in the living room, and I heard her go in and like make a fuss at Anne, and I heard Anne come like quietly out, like sleepily starting to pour food. And I'm like, are you giving her food? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I just gave her food like 2 hours ago. And that was how we figured out that she'd been scamming us for extra meals. And I was
That's
like,
hilarious.
Wow.
this hussy.
What a smart cat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was hilarious. Oh
That
my
is
God.
so funny. Oh my god.
Cats are great.
Yeah.
Cats are great.
So Bear's being Gracie right now.
Yeah. If you guys would be around when Fergus gets off work, I imagine Fergus would always, like, you know, he comes from a restaurant, he would grab some food on his way out to bring to bear at the end of the day. So if you saw that, if you were around when Fergus gets off work, you would very much see that food. You guys wouldn't know that like he gives them, they're racing him for food in the morning, but so
that doesn't mean you can't bring
her
you scraps as well, Morthos.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want. But you know
Bear's
that she's
getting
not
fat.
being like starved, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Morthos has started bringing you scraps, Bear.
And then none of us know about the secret meals.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm storing up
You're just
in
like,
case.
yeah, you're carb loading for the big day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've been working out extra too. All
Mhm.
gains, you
Yeah.
know?
3 Z's, gains. So that's how it works, right? Like thick with 3 C's and then there's gains with 3
Yeah.
C's.
Yes.
Okay,
Adding
Sounds
mass.
wonderful.
Okay, so a couple days pass. It's time to go meet the vessel for these potential uniforms. You make your way there, I assume?
Yep.
Okay. They're standing.
Can I ask a question? And I don't need to know. You cannot answer.
Okay.
But this is for Belladonna because it seems like everyone in the Thieves Guild has a code named as Belladonna.
You're just metagaming, Bryce to Darian.
I'm just curious.
It's just a mystery. and
That's
he's
fine.
curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Belladonna has a code name.
Okay. It's not metagaming because Fergus wouldn't know this. Bryce would just know this.
That's the definition of metagaming.
No,
It's meta if you act on it.
yeah, it would be metagaming if I use out of character knowledge for my
sure.
for my character. I try and make clear what does my character know because that's why I was like, hey Morthos, did you ever tell Fergus this?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Bryce to Darian, Darian to Bryce, yes.
Oh, interesting.
Belladonna is her code name.
Oh, see, I figured you wouldn't tell me the code name. I just figured it would.
That's
Okay.
just the name that she has, right?
Yeah.
That's the name that she gives everybody. The
Okay.
Thieves Guild, I don't think. I guess depending on the details of the Thieves Guild, I guess, and
The
the
Bella
requirements. But
The Bella de Ball.
I don't know. Maybe once you reach the higher tier of the Thieves Guild, you get a the, because it's the
Ooh.
Lark, the vessel, the Belladonna.
Maybe.
the Belladonna.
The Belladonna.
She just didn't want the title.
Yeah.
She wanted a name.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Who knows? So you go to the market square that you had been at before, and not necessarily late, but obviously kind of like making their way in inconspicuously. You eventually spot the person that you spoke with briefly before, and they you see them coming, and they kind of like make eye contact with you very briefly, and then they take almost like a meandering route, like walking out of the way of a few people, and then stumble into you in a very in a way that makes it obvious that they are it was intentional,
Gotcha.
so that they could stop and like apologize. I am so sorry, miss. I don't know. I must have lost my footing.
Oh, it's no problem. Are you okay?
Oh yes, I'm quite fine. Are you all right?
I think so. I don't think there's been any damage.
Well, that's good. And they kind of like look around, and they seem kind of like to just make a couple of like glances as they're like shifting the weight of what they're holding, and then like gesture like again for you to walk with them.
Cool. I will walk ahead again.
And there's like a fountain kind of off to the like towards the like one of the entrances, but instead of it being like set out in the middle, it's kind of smaller and it's off to the side, and they're casually walking and saying something about how like the day is nice, and essentially what they're communicating in a little bit of code is like, do you have the money?
And I will comment in code that yes. And I have it ready to go.
Okay. The package is like, it's got armor in it, so it's pretty bulky, but it's not like so heavy that you can't carry it. It's just one of those things where like the initial meeting looked like chance, and they wanted to like get to a place out of the way so that they could like make the change.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of like set it casually on like the side of this fountain and sit down, and like mess with their boot a little bit, and then just kind of like put their hand out, like casually on the concrete of the fountain, and you get the hint that it's like, drop me the money kind of thing.
Yeah, I do so.
Okay. What's your passive perception?
13.
Okay. You do actually happen to notice you set the little like pouch down next to them, and it's like a deft movement, but you did notice that they have like almost like what looks like a false pocket in the back, or not a false pocket, like a hidden pocket in the back of their like tunic, where and kind of like reached over and reached into the pouch and like scooped out the gold and just kind of like dropped it in back there. And it took them just long enough for you to catch it, almost like there must be like multiple compartments, so that they could like slide their hand into this like panel and make sure that the coins don't make like noise or anything like that.
Cool.
They reach back into the fountain and dip their hand into the water and kind of like dab it over like the forehead and on their neck. And they're like, this is an old trick from the homeland to cool yourself on a warm day like this. And like there are other people around, and like somebody stops and notices them to say that, and they kind of like smile at them, and they turn back and they say, well, good luck in your endeavors.
Thanks. You as well.
And they nod and begin to make their exit.
I'm gonna peace out and go tuck into some dark alleyway or something so I can try to figure out how bad, like what exactly condition these things are in, so I can see how much work I'm gonna have to put into trying to make them acceptable.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check. See what kind of a place you can find that looks clear.
I rolled a 14 in investigation.
Okay. There are a couple of places that look suitable and out of the way and have some things like stacked up in the alleys that you could easily duck behind. You untie the parcel and kind of peek in, and it doesn't necessarily look like the armor's in bad condition. It does look like it's a little worn, so it's obviously like older. But and like the colors are slightly faded, so it doesn't look like you'll have to repair the armor so much as you might have to just like freshen up the colors and like clean it up a bit, if that makes sense. And then it'll just look like kind of well-worn uniforms essentially.
Perfect. Then I guess I would gather what very few materials I would need to do that.
Yeah, easily some like cloth dye and some like shining, like armor shine, whatever you use to shine armor. I don't know, armor polish.
Yeah, probably a polish and buffer and stuff.
Yeah, the cost of all that together is probably like 3 gold, because the dye is a little bit expensive.
Sure. Okay. So I will collect those things.
Okay.
And head back to the suite and begin preparing them for Fergus.
Okay. So this is a little bit after midday that Belladonna makes it back. So Fergus, you're not at work at this point. Morthos, you might be out like having lunch, but you would return back pretty shortly. But you're at least there, Fergus, when Bella comes back, and you presumably awake afternoon, or at least shortly after she arrives back, and are able to tell.
Unless me and Bear are still training.
Yeah, but there's time before you would need to go to work for you to notice. Like,
okay.
To have to be able to find out that this was successful.
Okay. So has she repaired it by the time I see it, or like has she made it better?
It's same day. I think you would she would be coming back with the stuff when you're like back at the place, or about when you get back there.
All right. Well, would Bella show it to him before
Oh, that's a good question.
She's cleaned it up.
Yeah, I would show it to him just like whenever I interact with him next.
All right.
Just so that he's aware that it's taken care of. Just I guess depending on when that interaction is, it just might not be ready for him.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess she comes back and do we want to have the actual conversation, or do you just want to say that we...
Would you like to have an actual conversation?
For sure.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Well, Fergus is sitting on the couch. Let's say that I've gotten back from trading with Bear. Beckers, you want to roll an a athletics, and I'll roll athletics, and we'll see how it went that day.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
Fergus got an 18.
I got a 21.
So yeah, it looks like Fergus ran hard and still got his ass clobbered.
Mm-hmm.
He's like cleaning himself up, like rubbing some stuff on some small cuts, and just kind of like panting a little bit on the couch, having Bear probably just tackled him earlier and made it back into town. A very heavy bear tackled him.
Keeps getting heavier.
Is that starting to happen daily at this point? It's like you're working nights or whatever, and then you're getting tackled by a bear.
Seems like it.
He works hard for his money.
And yeah, so Fergus is kind of chilling on the couch when you would come back.
So I'll waltz right on in, and I'll see you sitting on the couch, and I'll say, "Oh, hey, looking good, Your Highness. Got something for you."
And he perks up and goes, "Oh,
Yeah, look." And I show him the guard uniforms. It's gonna take a little bit, but I'm sure they'll be fine, right?
He goes, "Can I see?" And he like reaches his hand out, and he like holds it up to his body to see like what the fit looks like.
Oh yeah. So it comes with like acquires and greaves. There's some like the padding underneath is of like the city colors. It looks like one of them, like both of them would fit you pretty well. One of them would probably be a little bit tighter than the other.
Okay.
Who are you hoping for the second one to wear?
Morthos.
Okay. Morthos is very tall.
Yes.
So like neither of you are like armor is meant to be adjustable, right?
Yeah.
Like you have it unless you have like a personally commissioned suit of armor like to your exact dimensions, and even then there's going to be like room for like straps and things like that to be adjusted. Like it will definitely fit both of you. Either of them would. Morthos is very tall, so it's going to look a little awkward on Morthos because like bits are not long enough and stuff like that. But also it probably would look like that if he were actually a member of the guard anyway, because these aren't like personally commissioned for each guardsperson. They're like, it's like a uniform. It's like standard issue, and you just like take yours in the line and you go.
Yeah.
So it'll work for sure.
Previous guy died.
Yeah, right? Like we fixed the arrow hole on this one. Here, it's yours now. Or maybe he retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He retired after he got shot by an arrow.
In the knee.
Took an arrow to the knee, yeah.
Fergus goes,
There's an arrow in your butt.
Fergus goes, "Yeah, this looks good. You're gonna clean it up?"
Yeah, yep, I already got the stuff. I've got like a sack with all of the other bits.
He goes, "Good. I don't know if you can make it look higher ranking at all, but I mean this will probably do well." But
If I looked at a guard's uniform, could I tell what kind of things set a higher ranking member apart from like your standard foot soldier guardman?
Yeah, I mean, standardly, something that would be like basic common knowledge is that usually there's like a helm with plumage or like a cape or something. It's usually if they're wearing like the normal guard stuff, then there's just like a little bit of decoration to it. Now, if you're wanting like parade fancy, then they might have their own commissioned armor in like the city's colors that's very fresh and unworn.
no, just
But the standard kind of like city issue stuff would more have like embellishments that you could add to it, like a sash or a cape or something like that. So if you went out and like took a walk around and tried to see if you could spot anybody with something special, then like insignia would be pretty obvious depending upon what they were wearing.
Okay, so Fergus, when exactly are you planning to use this stuff?
the day of the heist.
And how long until that?
How long? So I think everybody knows it's the day of the tournament is when we're heisting. So that's
Yeah. So you're like 5 days away at this point, I think.
so he'd say that.
Okay, give me until tomorrow and I'll try to have them ready.
Okay.
So I'll do like whatever repairs I need to do to get them up to speed. And then I'm going to go out and about and try to do some recon on the guards and what a higher ranking guard looks like and see if I can recreate that. See if I need to buy other equipment or bits and pieces to slap that onto their particular.
To be clear, only one of them needed to be higher ranking. The other one can be lower ranking.
Deal.
So go ahead and make an investigation check. And since you have proficiency in the disguise kit, I think like re-dyeing and touching up and polishing armor is something that you can like do base level without having to worry about like not doing it well or something.
All right. I rolled a 12 in investigation.
It takes you the better part of the day, because mostly when you are walking around and looking at like guards posted at busy places and important locations, it's the typical average everyday person. You do catch sight of someone kind of venturing a little bit closer to where the like barracks are. You do catch sight of someone who does have a cape in the matching off color of the city. So it looks like you'd probably just need a little bit of like cloth that would be dyed in that same color, and you could fasten it to one of the like shoulder pauldrons.
Are there flags for this particular city that have those colors on them?
Oh man, I bet there are. Let me see if there's an official. Let's see here. Okay, so the seal of the City of Splendors is a crescent moon facing open upwards on a purple field with mountains under that and a lake reflecting. What? It is actually kind of more like violet. Yeah, actually, to be fair.
That's amazing.
And there's a reflection of all that in a blue lake with 4 stars leading down it's like in the shape of a shield, and the embellishments are in gold. So the embellishments on the armor are in like a yellowy gold. The tunics are in the darker blue, and the off color would then be the violet. So you'd need like essentially like enough violet material in a fabric that would be suitable for like a short cape, like a half cape. And you would need to attach it to the left pauldron.
How difficult would it be to acquire that particular fabric color and, I guess, strength?
In a city of this size, it's just a matter of like going to a tailor or any kind of market where fabric is sold, finding something that has the right weight and either it having the right color or getting some more dye. And since you have a suite and you have like private like baths and stuff like that, it's easy enough to dye the clothing either in like a bucket or in the bath itself and just like scoop it out the dye or whatever.
Cool. Well, I'm going to make a cape for one of them.
Okay. The cost of that would probably be something at like 7 silver all told for like a yard of fabric and like a really common color dye. A lot of violet in this city, apparently. I didn't even know. It's like even more fitting that this random thing I made up works with the city. Woohoo! Yay for serendipity.
Woo!
Yeah. So that doesn't actually take long at all. Go ahead.
Kitty also dyed her hair purple because she is actually the collector.
I'm the violet scepter.
I mean, technically she is the collector.
I didn't actually intend for the hair to be violet, so it just kind of like worked out this way.
You're turning violet.
It is what it is. So that's easy enough to do. It shouldn't take you more than a day or two to do. And you know that the registration for the tournament was open starting at like a week ahead of time. There's no real cutoff except for like, before the tournament begins. So at any point between now and the start of the tournament, you and Bear can make your way down there and sign up. And I think that's kind of the last like step, right? Was there anything else anyone wanted to do to prep for the big day?
I think that's the checklist. Yeah. Well, at least my checklist, unless anybody has anything else.
Following your lead.
All right. So when are you and Bear going to go sign yourself up? You get to leave the house, Bear, and not go for a run.
Well,
So
okay.
excited.
It has people come to talk to Fergus at the Frog and Firkin.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. That will occur. So depending upon what order you all do this in, about 3 days before the event.
Okay.
They're like around closing time when really like the places kind of close down and everybody's like getting, like closing a restaurant where like the silverware is getting rolled and everything is being like washed in the back and they're getting like things closed down for the night so that it's ready to go in the morning. That kind of happens and like a small crowd of about 7 people just start like meandering around out front.
Does Fergus recognize Joseph or anybody?
Joseph can be seen among them. The others have like, everyone looks like they're dressed a little like unseasonably warmly, but it looks like they're probably trying to just be like, there are people who don't know how to be clandestine who are trying to like not be noticed. And so there's like hoods up and like maybe like cloth over their face, like a scarf or something. But one of them, if you go out and you look, you'll see Joseph after kind of like scanning the faces.
Right. Fergus, I think, finishes washing his dish, throws a little spare meat to Rascal, and then walks out to meet the group, and I guess sees Joseph among the group and kind of like walks up towards him and goes, good to see you, brother.
Brought as many as could come right now.
So I take it the Purple Scepter's workers are interested in a little bit of pay.
Violet Scepter.
Every time.
That's what Jess was gonna say. He's gonna kind of like the violet scepter. Stage whisper, the violet scepter.
Yeah, the Violet Scepter. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. That shit. Fergus is like, whatever place
Yeah,
you
who
work.
gives a
I don't care.
shit?
That's
Do
not
you want
the point
pay
right
rent?
now.
Color, just a different shade. Damn it.
You want the money or not?
Yeah, we've been talking about it, and it just seems unfair.
Fergus kind of gestures to walk a little bit, like over to some place where they can like sit down a little bit.
Do you want to go to sit like at a place where there's like benches and fixtures, or do you want to like go around like one of the alleys where there's like crates stacked where everyone can kind of like spread out but not be out in the open? It's totally up to you. I'm not saying one's better than the other.
Saying I'll go with the alley probably. Like I feel like I would be able to talk to the group would be clustered better to talk to in the alley where we can kind of make our own seating than someplace where there's already seating. That's probably more to like chill out while you're walking around than to be like conversational.
Yeah. Go ahead and make an insight check. Just generally about the group.
15.
Okay. You sense that there's like a lot of nervousness, not in like a deceptive way, more just in like, these are people that are kind of like torn with potentially like having a bad outcome or a good outcome depending upon how things go.
Okay, so as we kind of like get settled in, Fergus looks among the group and goes, so I assume Joseph has told you about who I am and who I represent?
A couple of people like they all kind of like glance from one person to the other and they look back at you and then they nod like, slowly, one by one kind of thing.
And he goes, there is a casino in Boulder's Gate I used to work at called Elysium. I worked in the kitchen there, and after, we had several people fired. People could barely feed themselves after how little the casino would pay, and God knows he was the man at top was making bank, but we never saw any of it. So, group of us got together, and we demanded better pay. course, he said no. So we got together and we walked out on the busiest day of the year. And you know what? About noon, he comes out to us, begging us to come back to work, because on days like that, we're more valuable to him than gold. So, after that, I saw how important unions like the one at Elysium were. So I've been traveling around to different cities, helping out workers like you get organized and take care of themselves. And if we can do something similar here, you guys will have more than you need. And he kind of like looks at the group and kind of like looks at somebody who looks like maybe they're a little skinnier than should be and stuff, who could probably use a good meal, and kind of like locks eyes with them as he kind of says that to go like, hey, you know, you're gonna get taken care of if we can pull this off.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
God, 17.
Okay. You know, there's a lot of nervousness in the group, and the more you talk, the more it seems like they kind of like loosen up. There's like some head nodding as you're talking about like getting them taken care of and how things could be better and how important they are on busy days and things. And there's a couple of like, not like shady whispers, but like people kind of like saying something quietly to each other and then like nodding, like looking at each other and nodding and looking back at you. And they don't really say a whole lot. But there just seems to be kind of like a general positive consensus. And Joseph, he kind of like looks around him and looks at everyone, and he like pulls his hood back and he says, "So what do we do? When do we do it? Are you going to be there?"
Fergus goes, the big tournament's coming up. Does it have a name yet? I feel like that was on the list.
Yes, it was on my to-do list, and I named it.
Okay.
It's called The Winner's Purse.
The Winner's Purse is coming up. And on that day, you're going to come into work. You're going to do your job. But the second that tournament starts, and I assume there's like a time on the poster or whatever of what time.
10 a.m.
Yeah. 10 a.m., you all are going to get up from your tables and you're going to walk outside. Out to the front door. I'll be waiting there for you. And we are going to picket. And we're going to strike. And with all of the people coming to see that tournament, they're to gamble. They're to spend their money. Not having you workers there to take that money. He'll do the man in charge will do anything to get you back. And we're going to get you everything you need. So you come out at 10 a.m., we pick it, and once he's ready, once we make him feel how bad he needs you, I'll go in there and negotiate, and we're going to get you your money.
Okay.
And he kind of like smiles and nods and goes, end of this week or whatever day it is, the day of the winner's purse.
Say like this Saturday.
Yeah,
whatever fantasy Saturday.
This fantasy Saturday, we're going to make you whole. I always try and say something really cool, and I just can't nail it in the moment.
Oh, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking for like a one-liner to end on?
Like a real like motivational deal. I think I had like a half thought in my head, but then I had to figure out what day it was, and I lost it.
Oh, no. Well, they kind of like nod along with you, and Joseph turns to a couple of the others, says, "Gotta make sure everyone knows, okay? But don't let anyone find out."
Yeah, and he nods and he goes, "I will see you then," and he makes his way back to the Frog and Firkin.
So, Belladonna and Bear, when do you want to go sign up for the tournament?
After breakfast.
That's fair.
It's a first or second breakfast.
11sies.
After Fergus feeds me, and then Belladonna, and then Morthos, then I'm ready to go.
But I have to be back before Lilia comes.
Yeah. Because she's got the whole dish.
And then sometimes Cookie gives Fergus food to give to me, and I need to make sure I'm there.
All right. So sometime midday-ish, you'll head up there a couple days beforehand. They're erecting like what looks like an arena outside and this like open land that's like around the side of the casino itself. You had seen the area before and it looked like it was already like primed to be like good for like a fighting arena, but it looks like they're doing some work to it to make it like fresh carpentry, more seating places, stuff like that. And there's like a big sign advertising, you could be the one to win the winner's purse, to take the winner's purse, and like signs showing you where the fighters can sign up. There are single combatants and then there are duos, and there are a limit to each group. Neither seems to be full at the time.
Cool, we're signing up.
Okay. They give you a list of rules. No like dirty fighting in a way, like keep it clean, keep it combat, magic is allowed, no curses, no like it's not to the death, like one team must yield, that kind of thing. Like make it bloody, make it fun, but we're not here to kill people, we're here for entertainment, kind of thing. So you get the idea that like all of your skills are available to you, but you can't like curse someone away that will be lasting for them, and that they'll have a way of finding out if you're like if you sign up and then show up as someone who you're not, basically.
Good thing Bear can't read. When you were like, "Hey, no killing," it's like Bear can't read.
Yikes.
We'll have to see how that goes.
Yikes.
It's like, and then they go to the cafe, see Cookie, and then they have lunch with Cookie, and Cookie translates the rules to Bear.
There we go.
That's totally a good idea.
Yeah, well, I
Absolutely.
have to bring Bear to her translator person. That I
Sure.
can't let Bear sign up for something that she cannot consent to.
Informed consent.
Yeah.
Consent.
She knew
Important.
that
She knows about it. She
Yeah.
knows about the tournament and all that stuff.
Yeah, but she gotta you gotta know all the rules before you can agree, right? You have
I
to
see what
read
you're
the
saying.
end user license agreement.
You gotta have a
I
safe
always
word.
read
knows
those.
I love it. So fast forwarding to the morning of the tournament, you've put all the pieces into play. You've got armor, you've got alibis, you've got stories, you've got like all of these pieces that are lining up. Yeah.
Should I explain the plan to them?
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I think there should be like a meetup where everybody kind of like maybe the night before or I think the morning of, honestly, to make sure everyone's got like, that's probably seems like the most reasonable thing to do would be not to give everyone like a night before to be caught, but literally like that morning have a planned time to get all together, make sure that you've got your like ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And then everything's going to kind of like kick off around the time the tournament starts. And it turns out that Bear and Belladonna are among the first like duos to go up.
Mm.
Cool, let's do it.
So they'll basically like they'll be out 10 o'clock, like getting started.
Yeah.
And the betting opens like right around like 9:30
Okay.
once the odds are posted.
Okay. So are we doing this scene where Fergus explains everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I don't know, maybe I'm trying to think where we'd meet if we're all meeting, because like I don't know if I'd want to meet up the night or meet up in the morning. I figure maybe the night before they'd meet at the Frog and Firkin. Everybody could just happen to get food there.
Okay. Yeah, the night before. Yeah, whatever you all want. It's like it's totally up to you.
Yeah.
It's like, or if they do breakfast At like
Let's do
5 in the
breakfast.
morning.
Early bird special.
Fergus doesn't work mornings.
That's true.
Does he have to be working though? Can't he just be having breakfast?
It's a good excuse for Fergus to be there, is because it's his
Okay.
job.
Sure.
What if he just brought all his friends there?
What if we just don't meet at the Frog and Firkin?
Okay, but that was the reason I got the job, was the meeting point.
Oh, all right. Fine.
Where was Cookie staying?
Evergreen.
The Evergreen, but we can't be. The whole point is that we're like, it's very bad for us to all be in the same place.
Well,
and
Cookie's
with that-
got her info now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Cookie can just ghost.
that was kind of the deal, is that Cookie already knows she's got the stuff to make everybody poop, and she's supposed to give it to them, give it to guards.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part.
Before the hand. In terms of everybody else, we could have the meeting the morning of.
There's a lot of parts to this plan.
at the suite. So
Yes. That's why we
All right,
made
we got
Bryce put it
catering.
together.
I think that's probably the best deal. Cookies
Okay.
Doesn't meet up, but the rest of us meet up or
Or-
like talk.
Since it's the morning of and it would be before Cookie shift, Cookie could show up
Okay.
if you wanted Cookie to.
Yeah, I suppose.
She's usually going in around 10 o'clock anyway.
Okay, I guess Cookie can show up at the suite like day before and come because
Reunited.
having a
And it
translator
feels
for
so
Bear might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. God, I'm trying to think of all the parts to this. Fergus goes, okay, here is the plan. First, Cookie has some flowers that she's going to bake into whatever treats that she will be handing out to the guards. That is going to make them need the bathroom very badly. Unfortunately, just before she hands those treats, she will be using a scroll that we have received to flood one of the bathrooms, preferably closest to the collection. Once that is taken care of, she'll come outside to hand any 2 remaining guards that might be watching over the tournament while our good friends Belladonna and Bear enter the tournament and win so that they can get inside the collection. There's still a lot going on with that collection that we don't know. Bella, did you ever tell Fergus about the Keyblade? Like that you know more about the like
Yeah, I think after I got a little bit more information, then I feel like I could confidently relay some of that to you.
Okay, that it
once
seems
I
to be like a
know
portal.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So after I'd spoken with or gotten the message from the Thieves Guild, then I would divulge that information.
Fergus goes, number 1 target is my mother's necklace. But we still don't know where in the collection it is. But that scepter seems like it's going to be important for a lot of reasons. So, Bella, I think your focus needs to be getting that scepter.
You can't say that the priority is your mom's necklace and then also say that my focus should be the other thing.
Well, as far as Morthos is shared, there appears to be some magic keys to access parts of the collection, and it seems like that scepter might be the key to all of that stuff. So if you can get that, that might open up the rest of the collection to us, or open up something. It's going to let us get somewhere or something, but it seems like that scepter is going to be important. But
That's such a gamble.
it is.
That's like such a we don't know where that goes.
It is, but while you and Bear are in the collection, I mean, grab anything else you want, but grab the purple scepter, and if you see my mom's necklace, grab that.
Okay.
Well, Morthos. He looks at Morthos and goes, I think throughout this, you're the eyes and the ears. Keep an eye on the tournament as that goes on. Make sure they can win. Cheer. I don't know if that's going to take Riley and the crowd against their opponents, getting the crowd on their side. I don't care if you need to, break someone's leg before they fight. They're winning that tournament. But after that, just watch the casino and wander around the casino floor. Keep an eye on things, and he goes, you got that bird, right?
Yeah, I still have my raven.
He goes.
Raven.
He goes, if something goes wrong, send that bird, towards one of us, and we'll come running. As for me, I've managed to get hopefully a decent amount of the workers will be making their way out as the tournament starts. So between the workers themselves and hopefully some guards striking, that's also going to pull the guards outside to deal with the strike, leaving less for you guys to deal with in the collection. As for me getting into the collection, he grabs the finished version of the guard's uniform that Bella has presented and hands the lesser one to Morthos, and goes, when you guys make it into the collection, I'm going to be making my way up there, telling the guards that they are being robbed right now. Not by you guys, someone's after the vault. And I'm going to tell them they need to open the vault right now because they are being robbed, and the city guard knows this. They have a man inside. And I'm going to get them to open the vault. When you see me, Morthos, get in this uniform, follow me. Between you and me, I'm gonna make it so they can't see. And you remember that spell you used on our friend Recon?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that on these guards. And between all this, we should have a clear run of the collection and the vault. Now, I don't know how we're dealing with that gold line you talked about, or what the frick's happening with this purple scepter. But after all this,
Violet.
But after, nope, it's always gonna be the purple scepter to Fergus.
Yeah.
Do we all collectively correct him?
Yes. I love the idea that everybody just quietly is like, Violet.
After all this, if we're not coming out of here with my mom's necklace, I couldn't tell you what will. But if it takes knocking this place to the ground, we're getting it. And he kind of looks at them all and goes, sounds good?
Roger Dodger.
Sounds like a plan.
What do you want me to do while you guys are doing that and after I hand out the poop brownies?
Well,
Is there anything I should say?
if you can, see if they'll let you hand out the brownies to the guards in the collection. Tell them it's from the man up top, a celebration of the tournament, that he wants all the guards to know how much he appreciates them with some baked goods. So if you can, talk your way into the collection via your special skills.
Your elf wiles.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
hopefully,
Hey, what's Fergus's charisma?
his charisma is not really that good.
Okay.
It is a 13.
I mean, so average
not that
commoner
bad.
is 10.
Yeah.
Like 10's across the board. Less than that is like below average. So 13 is like well above average. It's not like legendary,
But-
but it's well above average.
It's high enough. It's the minimum that I can have to take the leadership feat.
I like it.
I don't. To be clear, I don't have the leadership feat, but I would be capable of taking it.
But I could.
Also,
Hell yeah.
side note, I know the collector's favorite dessert. Should I put the flowers in that too and just kind of leave a present at a place where he could easily find it, like in his office?
Why not? Go wild.
Do it. Do it.
The more people pooping, the better.
Yeah, sure. he kind of like he does the same, like puts his hands up and thinks about it for a second, kind of going like, thinking like it feels like there should be something more than poop brownies in his for him, but he goes, this late in the game, yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we don't have to not kill him at the end.
Well, no,
Bryce.
my thought was like a knockout, something that'll like make him sleep.
Oh, okay.
'Cause-
when you said more than poop brownie, yeah, I got the impression that you wanted to kill him as
No.
well.
No.
Got something a little more for you.
But to be fair, like Fergus has said previously, like, hey, we're not killing anybody like who's just doing their job. We're not gonna hurt guards. We can hurt guards. We're not gonna kill guards because they're just doing their jobs. The collector, fuck that guy. He stole my mom's necklace. He's probably been profiteering off all these stolen valuable items and stuff. Fuck that guy. If he dies in the end, that's fine with Fergus.
Cool. So to be fair, or to be sure, we can kill the collector.
Yes, we can kill the collector.
Dope.
Anybody else
Right.
knock him out. And then Fergus looks around at everybody and goes, anything else? I assume that Cookie has been translated to Bear. And
Yes.
Okay. And then
Okay.
yeah, with nothing else, he goes, okay. If anything goes wrong, we meet at the east gate of Waterdeep.
All right. Can we do a teamwork thing where we all put
Yeah.
our hand in the middle?
Yeah. Fergus puts his hand in with everybody.
Yes.
Left hand's closer to your heart.
Yay! Hands in.
Oh, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Record.
God, that
Room
is
noise.
that. Whoa, Aaron just went blurry. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
That is a joke that like only us will get.
Record.
Those are the best jokes.
That was great.
It was. I love that.
Okay,
So this was the morning of or the night before?
that was the morning of because we decided
Okay.
that Cookie came right before our work.
Yep. So
Gotcha.
Cookie already knew about the brownie, so she probably made all those in advance. So the only thing
fair.
that she really will have to make like that day was the flan,
Mhm.
which I'm sure she could make some time at work maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're gonna have time. It's not like this stuff's gonna kick in and they're instantly gonna get sick to
Right.
their stomach.
Yeah.
Like it has to be digested, right? Go ahead and make 2 just general cooking checks because you're gonna practice the flan. So these will count for your
Yes.
practice.
Okay. I got a 21 on the first roll and a 24 for cook's utensils.
Okay.
She can't cook bad.
This is impossible. I love it. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm
It'll
gonna
never be less
knock
than
that.
20.
So the first one you made, it was one of those things where it's like, this is the first time making a recipe and you think it went pretty well. And then you did it again just to make sure and it was even better. And you're like, This is child's play. I got this. No problem.
Perfect.
Zero worries. So, everybody kind of scatters, right? To go to their respective stations. So I'm going to go ahead and move you to the fighting arena.
Ooh.
So there are tables with bookies everywhere. The stands are absolutely filled. The crowd's already excited. There are several people milling about that look like they're already in armor and ready to go. Like, not milling about. They're like stretching and psyching themselves up. Bear, I want you to roll a d8. And Bella, I want you to roll a d8. The two of you arrive, and you see that, as you were noticed before, you were in the first match. There's a line around the bottom. If you look on the map, you'll see that brick sort of area that's outside of the kind of like sandy pit.
Mm-hmm.
There are guards posted kind of like in the corners here. And the entrances are like these entrances. The ones from the side are where the people are being allowed to filter in and fill into the stands. And the ones on the top and bottom are where the contestants are being like ushered in at. They're kind of like rereading to you the same exact information that you were given when you signed up about like no cheating, honest fighting, but your skills are allowed, no curses, no long-term effects, no killing, etc., etc. There are people in robes with long censers, like you had seen before, Bella, that have these coins on the front with this like woman with the flowing hair. This is something you saw before, but it wasn't like a symbol that meant anything to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they go about and they're swinging the censers, but it doesn't look like they're doing any like magic just yet at the moment. But they're working on these archways that are situated in these walkways on the side here on the top and bottom where the contestants are entering. There's two on each side. So you're watching the group in front of you work on this. And it takes them a few minutes. It looks like they're like doing some sort of like ritual. And when they complete, there's this like golden shimmer that courses over the archway. It goes from the top down to the bottom. And there's almost like this little bit of like static electricity in the air where it's obvious that something has occurred in this moment. The crowd is cheering louder and louder. They know that the moment for the tournament is about to begin. Everybody has placed their bets, or everyone bidding on the first fight has placed their bets. And somebody steps out into the middle of the ring and they begin to announce for the winner's purse. And they're doing a little bit of preamble. They're psyching up the crowd. They direct everyone again to where bets can be placed. And then they say, contestants, please enter the ring. And at that point, the people that are kind of like filing you all in gesture for you all to proceed through this archway. Tell me what your rolls were really quick.
I rolled a 6.
Okay.
Bear rolled a 1.
That's okay.
I'm scared. I don't know what it means.
So, who you see across from you, they're on the other side of this similar looking archway, is a hulking barbarian half-elf. Huge figure. They don't look necessarily familiar to you. They have this long auburn hair that's braided back and these bright green eyes. Interestingly enough, although they have distinctly half-elven features, their skin is of bluish tint. It looks like they might be half-elf, half-Goliath by their size. There is a tabaxi next to her who has a longbow on their back. And they look like they're the people you will be facing off with. And they gesture for the two of you to walk through the archway. Who goes first?
I'll go first.
Okay. So Bear, you start to walk forward, and as you pass through, like your face begins to pass through this archway, you feel almost like a burning sensation. I need you to make a Constitution save.
Oh, it's a critical fail. So I rolled a 6.
There's this like tingling sensation that's followed by this burning sensation, and it almost kind of feels a little bit like your form is being pulled on in all directions. Bella, you're watching this ahead of you as Bear starts to walk forward, and then there's that shudder step of someone who looks like they're suddenly racked with pain. You feel this compression, Bear, that's almost like peeling away at you and pushing down on you. You can't help but to roar out in pain as this is happening. Failed Constitution save critically. There's a lot that's going on. You're like a little bit sick to your stomach. There's these wild thoughts running through your mind. You're getting very like disoriented a little bit. And there's this, Bella, you see this like green, like almost like not a sickly green, but like a deep foresty green, like flash of light. A couple people in the crowd scream on either side of you. And
cool.
as this light flashes in front of your eyes and you kind of have to shield yourself for a second and you look back, there's a person standing, well, kind of like on all fours, like crouching almost in front of you where Bear was before.
What?
Why don't you go ahead and describe yourself?
I'm a lady.
Wait. That's it. End the show. We're done here.
Come on, Beckers.
My God.
Come on, Beckers. You can do this.
How about that?
I haven't had a talk in 10 episodes. It's hard for me. Okay. I have dark hair. I'm really, really muscly. And I got like a bear pelt up on my shoulder. And I think we decided I get to have my sword.
Yeah, all your belongings are with you. Everything
I got a big sword.
Mm-hmm.
Like one big two-handed sword.
What is Bella right there? Just like, holy shit.
There's just a lady
Honestly,
crawling on the floor with a
No, yeah, there was an initial shock, and now it's just like, all right, this is what we're working with. Cool.
Show me what you work with.
Yeah.
I've been like feeding and petting that lady.
You can't think that far into it, man. You just can't.
At this point.
That'll hurt yourself.
Okay, hold on. There it goes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at her!
So that is who you see
That's awesome.
crouching almost like ferally and like a little bit confused on the ground in front of you. And there's a gasp, an audible gasp from the crowd. A couple of people to the side of you lean over and start talking in hushed tones. And they begin to start to say something about this being unprecedented and grounds for removal from the competition. And someone from the audience chimes in and screams, "Let her fight! That was amazing!" And there's a couple of more quick conversations, and they look back at you. They look at you, Bella, and they say, "Is that going to happen to you too?"
I'll just jump right on through.
Okay, you pass through with no issue.
She's gonna turn into a bear.
And the entire crowd begins screaming. Some people are cheering. Some people are just like screaming because they don't know what to do with themselves. It's all this raucous noise. And the people on the other side look a little taken aback.